The Dode Fox Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Dode Fox Podcast. I'm Paul, he's Ronnie, and as always, a weekend without Dundee United is fairly shite. Can't wait for Sunday. Find out more at dodefoxpodcast.com. Follow us on socials at Dode Fox Podcast. Like, subscribe and click the notification bell on YouTube and support the pod at buymeacoffee.com/Dode Fox Podcast.
Coming up on this week's episode, the week that was, Derby preview, loan report, women's team, Caramel lads, the Tannadice Test, on this day with the Arab Archive, and Calum Butcher is our special guest. It's all coming up on episode 298 of the Dode Fox Podcast.
Hi, I'm Leo. These two are pricks, and you're listening to the Dode Fox Podcast.
So welcome back to the award-winning Dode Fox Podcast with Pelly's pal, Paul McNichol, and permanently staring at beautiful Tony, Ronnie Costello. Now, we were just called a pair of pricks there. Did Swindle do anything this week?
I did, yeah. I went into the shop early last week, Monday, the Dundee United shop, that is, Monday, just to inquire as to what the feck was happening with the Derby tickets. Got told it would be out later in the week. Okay, no bother, right, buddy, let's get out of the shop. Oh, no, I quite like this tap. So, yeah, 60 quid later, he's running about with one of the white training taps on that United have got this season, which you can spill food on and you'll see it. So, every cloud.
Good lad.
Well, daddy skin. That's all I'm going to say.
Don't call yourself daddy, that's creepy. Pelly's pal.
Pelly's pal, yeah. I met Pelly many, many moons ago.
Where?
Sadly at Dens Park, Rondo. Sadly at Dens Park, yeah. That was during the FIFA Youth World Cup.
Yeah, so most people will know the image I'm talking about. There's Pelly's there with somebody else. I can't mind. It's Andy Roxbury.
It's Andy Roxbury, yeah.
And then there's a group of bairns all watching, and there's one boy in the front row staring up at his new mate, and that man, that bairn, that kid, it's Paul McNichol.
And I'll be honest with you, I didn't even remember that getting taken.
Really?
So, yep.
Wow.
I remember meeting him, and I remember shaking his hand at it's not the tunnel at Dens, is it? It's the
stairs.
It used to be a ramp. I remember shaking his hand
there. It used to be
there.
a ramp? I don't remember that.
Yeah, and then they've changed it to stairs. So,
Health and safety.
So I can remember that, but I can't remember if for whatever reason.
Roughly when that would have been?
Oh, the 80s. I can't mind. A quick Google search would find it though, Rondo.
You're young though.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, that was when Saudi Arabia.
Oh, that game.
Yeah. So that
the young team.
That tournament, it was Saudi Arabia that won it.
The young Saudi Arabian team.
But I can remember going to the games that were at Dens. I don't know why they weren't at Tannadice for whatever reason, because clearly it's a better stadium.
Well,
then
you tell me that.
I can remember going to see Nigeria. I can't mind what they were playing like, but they were all big lads. And obviously, boys were 15, 16 years old and whatever, unless you went to see the Saudis and they were in their 30s.
Mm-hmm.
But I have shaken Pelly's hand, yeah.
And he'll remember that, obviously.
Well, possibly. I have my doubts.
Or possibly not.
I have my doubts.
Yeah, Pelly's pal, eh? We spoke last week, Julius Eskersonen.
We kind of mocked him. And
mocked's about a harsh word, but we just thought, tap's half a big.
No, I think what we're saying, it was very, very big. It was a very large top that he was rocking.
Well,
what was the reason for it?
Got the intel.
Okay.
He said, not me,
mm-hmm.
He said he likes wearing baggy clothes as it goes back to when he was younger, because he was tiny, bairns.
He still is.
And everything was massive on him, so he's just got used to it.
Okay.
So we'll get used to him. That's the type of tap he likes to wear.
Nice. I'll be trendy by the end of the season if he's a good player.
I think that the thing when it's noticeable is when it's long sleeve.
Yeah. I think
buried in the sleeves.
We need to find out what says he actually wears then, because it must be like a double XL, and he's not a big imposing figure.
Nah, because you think take the area out of it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. He might be normally a medium, might be an XL. I don't know. I can maybe.
Yeah, but then what is he wearing on match day? I reckon double XL.
I reckon.
I'm telling you, that strip was huge.
But that's it's basically just what he's always done.
A comfort thing.
Yeah.
Tell you what, if he plays well in it, he could wear whatever he wants.
Do what you want. It's like boys wearing Alice bands.
Get it?
Do what they want.
Do what they want.
Again.
I like
We did say we wanted clean sheets with the Alice bands, but we'll work on that.
Well, we've not even seen the Alice band, though, have we?
No.
So that's how we're not getting the clean sheets.
Still growing out though. Have you seen the and this is maybe something for you, have you seen the Man United fan that's no had his haircut until they win 5 games in a row?
I have seen that. That's tremendous.
Jealous.
Yeah. I mean, I could do that as well, but you'd be like, that boy's just not shaved his head for a couple of weeks. Just look ridiculous.
Yeah. So if MD fancies doing that
Yeah.
until we see the Alice, maybe he's doing it himself.
United winning 5 in a row, though. I mean, you're going to end up with a head of hair. You're going to end up with a big head of hair. You're going to look like Fellaini, the old Man United player.
He's almost looking
or like Troy Brown.
Oh no.
Were you at the band in his hair?
Wow, that was wow, thanks for that. Hello, PTSD. Pay on a roll. Cheers, you mate, away fans. Brilliant. What a day. But that's the down low.
Well,
Julius.
Whatever works for him.
United have knocked back a 6-figure bid for Will Ferry, an MLS club this week. It's well short of United's valuation. They're obviously looking at the boy Penn Rice, who is a good player, and the boy Lewis Mhler, who's no such a good player, but went for 1.5 million to Blackburn, and Penn Rice was 2 million to Greece. So you've got to be in that ballpark, I'm afraid. If you want to get us to the table, know that I'm a spokesman there, but I'm assuming that's the thought process.
Yeah, I don't want him. I don't want to sell Will Ferry personally. But if he's going to go, then you've got to make sure that you get good coin for him.
Still got 2 years in his deal.
Exactly. Like from my point of view, we shouldn't be in any hurry to get rid of him.
No,
absolutely not.
No,
100%. One of our better players.
Yeah, and it's that comes in last year, and let's be honest, we sat here just over a year ago thinking, well, first signing, remember?
Yep.
Ferry.
Never heard of.
Get much about him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he kens Ross Graham, and he kens Kieran Freeman. Still, don't care much about him. And then you look and you go, their fans seem to be, if I'm remembering this right, okay, a good player now, might do well. 3-year deal, you're thinking, must be a bit of, must really like him. And then once they get their feet under the table as such, never look back, really.
No, and early on in his United tenure, certainly, I think we were on, we thought we were on a good end with him. So, yeah, like he's a good player. He's one of our better players. Unless you get, and I don't want to put a figure on it, but unless you get really, really good money for it,
just put a figure on it.
Then he shouldn't be going anywhere.
Well, you've got to be looking at that ballpark. Listen,
I'm not putting a figure on it.
The boy Penn Rice is 2 million,
6
right?
figures, no enough though.
And I would say Will Ferry was as good, if not better, than the boy Penn Rice last year.
Penn Rice got age on his side though, I think. Is he a wee bit younger?
Will Ferry's about 24.
I think Penn Rice is only about 12.
But the boy Lewis Mhler, 1.5 million.
I was never impressed any time I seen him.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of money down south.
Yes.
And people have obviously watched him and maybe like his athleticism, Rondo, I don't know, but to part with that, it's a lot of dosh for him. And I could see why Hibs took that offer. Because
Ferry
they
must
probably
stay.
never get a better in.
A week to go. But I would be
I'd be surprised and very disappointed if Will Ferry goes.
Yeah, especially on the...
What was in our complaints last year? Like when Will Ferry doesn't play with Danaher a replacement.
Yeah.
And
I'm just thinking with a game that's on the horizon.
Oh yeah. I just didn't want him to go.
Yeah,
it would just be a bad decision for a footballing point of view. Maybe no fair business point of view. That's for somebody else.
Yep.
That stays in Minnesota to think about. But
for Dafty's here.
But for Dafty sitting at a table with a tangerine cloth on it, no, I'm no for selling him.
And a boy drinking a Star Wars mug.
Correct.
Because it's early on a Sunday.
Dafty's all round.
True. Signing number 14's in the building.
He is. And it was rumoured all week.
Yes.
I think I can't
Nikolai
remember.
Mhler.
I think it was you that maybe sent me a message saying that striker incoming.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed to take an awfully long time.
He's a Swede. He's been playing in Switzerland for St. Gallen.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably not how you pronounce it, but I made it sound French. Gallen.
Yeah, no idea. And
Right,
once again, never heard of him.
Hope you brought Toblerone with him.
I hope so. He must have come through the duty free.
Yeah. He's 23. He's on the books at Arsenal 2020 for a few years.
Mm-hmm.
He signed a 2-year deal with the club. Club have got an option for a third, and he will wear the number 77 shirt.
Yeah, I like that. I don't know why I like that. Maybe it's the year I was born, but I quite like that. I don't think we've ever had a
77, no 67.
Good for you. But he's also a big guy as well, isn't he? He's 6'4".
Yeah, seems to well, again, when the same just with what we're reading the reports and stuff, but he seems to have a turn of pace.
Mhm.
He's not a traditional target man, but it's obviously a big laddie.
He's 6'4" and he's going to be playing in Scottish football. I'm going to guess the ball's going to end up on his head quite a lot.
And
Yeah, as long as he's good at it.
Yeah, I think if you go to, and I'm trying not to hud him up here yet and put
Ibrahimovic
pressure on him, right? Dinna. But like, you dinna get 3 or 4 year deal at Arsenal if you're shite, right? You dinna.
Mhm.
You just dinna.
Yeah.
You're like, I ken that clubs can take chances doing there, and we've said this a million times.
On
You think of
potential.
players that go there, but I just dinna think you get
Mhm.
that unless they do think there's a project there, there's a plan there. Because I mean, he's only 23 on my notes, so there's 18, 19. He was there,
Yeah.
20. So I know potential, and I know Arsenal throwing a boy on at 16 yesterday. And I get that.
15.
It was 50. I thought it was 60. I thought you'd had to been 16 to play. So
Only 15.
so, like, I get that, but you now think, well, the expectation on this boy at 15's through the roof again.
Yeah.
Whereas you've got this guy who's went there, it's maybe no work to it. You think of the players that would have been there, could have been injuries, could have been whatever. He's now, via a few countries and a lot of experience, found his way.
Experience being the key word there, Rondo. Yep.
Found his way to DD3.
Yeah. And I'm excited about it, even though I didn't know much about him. Like at all, he's saying he's not a target man, but that's probably in time what he will be.
Welcome to Scottish football.
Exactly. Yeah. So you're over a certain height. So what we do is we kick the ball up to your forehead. Okay.
Like LeBron last week.
Exactly. And good luck, because you still had to control it and hud it up and score some goals.
I didn't ken what if you were any of the Dude Folks satellite housing yesterday.
I was in the Benidorm bed set.
Okay, right. Yeah. And did you see LeBron's challenge on the right centre half for Dundee?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I thought it was quite nasty at the time, eh?
Mm-hmm.
And then he's obviously like, wasn't he? He went over Sean Dillon time being off of pitches.
Yeah.
Comes back and you're thinking, that's got to be nasty. Like, just a bit. But again, you look at yesterday, he was really effective against us. I thought he was quite ineffective yesterday. But again, stick the ball on the boy's head. Like, didn't go as route one again as they did against us. No, that I've seen it. I was just watching highlights.
No, and we'll touch on it when we preview the game next week. But that would be playing to Dundee's strengths this season, I think, for what I've seen of them.
Yeah,
like they've flipped it. Like they were pretty good going forward last year to a point, but couldn't keep Burns out of closely. And now they've tightened up at the back, and they're not looking so great going forward.
Good. Hope that stays us next week.
We will see.
So Nikolai Mhler is in the building. 2-year deal. He is signing number 14 for Jim Goodwin's United Nations, and will wear the 77 shirt.
Surely that's got to be it. Can't be saying anybody else. Surely.
Well, if you just leave us to get doing the other bits of news.
Oh, Christ.
Academy graduate Scott Constable was in the 19s Slovenian Nations Cup squad for Scotland, and he turned 18 this week.
He did. And I wonder if he's bought his old man a pint yet.
Nah.
Probably no. Probably no.
No chance.
It's not the way it works, is it?
No. Well, as you just found out in the shop. I might have some dosh. Doesn't mean I'm doing anything yet.
Oh, you've got dosh, right? Well, we'll get rid of that in a hurry then. That's what we'll do.
Yeah, but a nice double for him this week.
Brilliant. Yeah, it's always great to get selected for your country.
Getting in there for Thailand.
Well, I was just a way to say, like as you pointed out the other week, he's eligible for 2 countries. It's class. It's good experience for him as well. I still think ultimately he's going to end up on loan this season.
No, the worst thing though.
No, not at all. No, I would argue it's the best thing, because if he stays at Tannadice, he's not going to be a regular. He needs to go somewhere and be a regular in somebody's team.
Yeah. So that's
so well done, Scotty.
Well done indeed. Cove Rangers keen a loan deal for Lewis O'Donnell.
Mm-hmm.
Needs to be playing football.
He's got to play. He's got to play. Like we've had high hopes for Lewis for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
And last year, borderline waste of time. Like he might tell you different. Other people at the club might tell you different. But he was loaned out to a team in League One, and he barely got any game time. Like that's he's not developing doing that. He's developing calluses on his arse, sitting on a bench. But that's not what he's out there to develop.
It's a picture of your arse. Your callus on
he has got to get there. And if he goes to Cove or whoever else it is, like when you see Cove, I always think of Declan Glass because he went there and he was absolutely brilliant for them. Certainly the first time around. He's there. He's still there now, is he?
Fraser 5, he's there.
So he needs to go and have that sort of impact for me on a team.
Yeah.
He's just got to. He's got to take games by the scruff of the neck. He's got to get in the team first. Take games by the scruff of the neck.
And I think this has been said. I don't think I'm putting words in the manager's mouth here, but I'm sure he said that players don't have a given right to go on loan and play. Like, they have to deserve to be in that team.
Yeah.
And 100% get that. But it would be nice if there was a bit of a...
Do we need to be smarter in who we loan them to then?
Who knows? I think any place you go, there's going to be competition. Unless it gets, look, we've lost a midfielder. Yeah. We need...
Well, I would also argue it's not healthy if you say to the boy, look, you're going there, you're guaranteed to play.
Bother.
Then I tell him that he's got to, regardless if it's United, Cove or fucking some Highland League team, you've got to earn the right to play, even if you're in a loan spell. So ultimately, he's got to play. That's the one thing that he has to do this season.
Yeah, and like you've mentioned there, Constable, O'Donnell, obviously the loan report has begun for the season, but there will be another 5, 6, 7.
Of course, Charlie Dewar, Harry Welsh maybe. Yeah, there's got to be.
Young lad
Calvin B. Yeah. He's got to go as well, you would think. They just need to play.
Yes.
Because they're not getting... Like, they could play, probably 6 games unless they get through in that cup. The KDM
the
Evolution Trophy.
Well remembered.
Yeah, when they're in the B team, like, that's only 6 guaranteed games.
Yes. But we should get out of that.
That's the B team, though, is it? Like, I think it was a bit of an... We'll see, because they're playing this week, but it was a bit of an anomaly. It was a bit of an anomaly that we actually won so comfortably the first game, because usually the B teams didn't do so well, especially ours is basically an under-18, under-19 team. So these boys have got to go. They've got to get valuable minutes, I would say, and play well. Because if you go and you play all the time, but you're not really doing great, then I think it bodes well for your progression at Tannadice.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on it. Certainly, I think it'll be, and hopefully busy, rightfully busy, because then Paul needs to do the loan report. Not just spend
all about that, Rondo.
On it
I'm all about that.
Kai Ftheringham. Looks like, again, it's 10:30 Sunday morning, so by 10:30 Monday morning. Looks like he's joining St Johnstone for an undisclosed fee, and also looks like he'll be joined in Perth by ex-United right back Liam Smith.
Yeah, they'll definitely not get their bits mixed up anyway, will they? We has fours. Which were, of course, was a Dode Fox fact. Maybe the first one. If Kai goes, he goes with the best wishes from everybody.
Fresh start.
Yeah, possibly needed. He probably wants to be playing as well, because he didn't really play much last season.
He was excellent in the championship season.
He was excellent in the championship. Yeah, he contributed massively, goals and assists, and he was a bit of a mainstay in the team for the majority of that season.
So he's done his job last season.
Yeah, when he came in, but I would imagine as a footballer, he's probably quite frustrated at the lack of chances that he got last season. Now, I know there's United fans that maybe didn't rate him all that much, certainly in the top league, but he's not going to the top league if he goes to St Johnstone. He's going to a league where he has performed quite well in. So they'd be getting a very good player at that level, and then it's up to him to see if he can then kick on. Because St Johnstone look pretty good just now.
So there's the throw away already?
Yeah, they look pretty good just now. I know it's a long season and it's tough down there, rainy nights in Capello and whatever, but they're looking pretty good. So if he can go there...
Like a shite Bruce Springsteen tune.
No.
Rainy nights in Capello.
There's no shite Bruce Springsteen. Come on now, behave yourself.
But it's a league he knows.
Yeah.
It's a league he done really well in.
Yes.
And again, with like I'm saying, I think he done his job when he had to last season. Like, he was in for the big games. Manager trusts him in the big games. But again, it's getting that kick on and thinking now, where is his role? Like, where can he play? And maybe it is just that fresh start, because I think if you're looking at...
He's been at United himself.
Yeah. And like I say, took the bull by the horns. He come back and it was like, what's he going to do? And, whoa, he was really good.
Yeah.
To the point, after we'd... won the promotion and got the trophy, that was the night I was in the Heggie negotiating 5-year deals for him. And the chairman's looking going,
no,
fuck's this arsehole?
Exactly. Tap that microphone for him and boot his arse at the door.
What is this boy talking about? So that was, But so I think when you look at the position as well, and you think who could play in these positions, I think Mhler Thompson's still there as well. Because I think we've said, I don't think we've said this publicly or privately, but between the two, I don't think you've seen both of them still being there. I think I'm not sure there's room in a squad.
Yeah,
I think when it comes down to the nitty gritty, can there be two similar? Mhler could play a number of positions. We've seen it already, but wide right could be a place that he can go.
Yeah,
where if you keep him, you've got versatility as well. Then does it leave a wee bit odd man out type thing there? But you would go absolutely with the best wishes, 100%.
Yeah, definitely. And if he does go, it's not overly surprising, is it? Let's be honest.
No. And like I say, join the team, top of the league,
flying
3 for 3 flying.
Closer to Jesus.
Yeah. And what about his ex teammates that went to the Highlands to get them back up with the first port of call, and they're rooted bottom of the league at the minute?
Yeah, I noticed that.
Wow.
Sometimes it doesn't work, eh?
No.
Sometimes it just doesn't work, because you would have thought Ross County said, like, not so much GMS, because GMS, like, he's older and he's in a position that's quite an
struggling a lot. He's not played a lot.
No, and in the last few years, he's been on the downward slope, you would say, career-wise. Although his highs at Tannadice certainly were phenomenal. But to sign for a team that's just been relegated, to bring in Declan Gallagher and Ross Docherty, like, they shouldn't be bottom of any league.
No,
that's quite surprising.
Bought the boy Jakaviti back for St Mirren.
Yeah, he's a big ham.
Whatever. So it's effective ham.
Yeah,
gammon ham.
Well, he's a big ham. He's a big ham.
But they're bottom of the league.
Exactly. Yeah, early doors though, so we'll see in the fullness.
Very early. Where are they now? Just the one update this week.
Oh, who is it?
Brian Mwangi.
Oh yeah, Cowdenbeath.
Yep. He's been found.
Yep.
Sent to it umpteen times.
Found and signed.
Immense. He's
yeah.
back. Yeah. It's done.
Good for him, because he's at an age where he probably still wants to continue. Well, he undoubtedly wants to continue his career. And if he's got to drop down a few levels to hopefully work his way back up to League One Championship or whatever, then so be it. But I'm happy for him that he's got a team.
Yeah, I did hear Liam Smith obviously on there, and when that got rumoured, I was like, wait a minute, I'll just bundle that in Mackay. But we'll keep an eye on some of the ex-players, just see where they are, because sometimes we don't know, and some of it could lead to clues for Paul in the Tannadice Test some weeks. And that's another end. Liam Smith, St Johnstone on it. Mind the fun we had the other week with St Johnstone?
No, I don't recall much fun. No.
Treatment table still busy. Trapanovsky, Graham, Strain, Papo, Sapsford, Waters, all on it.
Brilliant.
Could we break this week, obviously?
Yeah.
I quite liked that the manager did say, it's not a holiday, like, it's not a jolly. We'll be on the training park. We'll be throwing set pieces into them.
Got to.
Bats into them.
Got to.
But it gives your Sapsford, your Waters, obviously closer to a bit of time. It passes another couple of weeks for the other guys that are a bit long term. I think Isaac's probably the one that we forget about, know the right term, but I'm just thinking in the meantime, we're probably looking end October for these other three guys.
Yeah, and it's come at a real bad time for Waters, because we were already managing his minutes to try and get him up to speed, because he's kind of missed pre-season with us.
Yes.
So for him now to miss a period of time again, it's going to put his fitness further behind.
There's I'm just remembering this, so it's you may file this under Toad Fox Podcast Fact category, but DUFC Stats, your mate,
my mate,
who he put out that Max is the first United player in like umpteen year to score 3 European goals or something like that, which again on the face of it you go, 3 goals not much, but that's massive.
Yeah,
for
of course it is.
Clubs like Dundee
United.
United.
And it'll be the first time in years, because we've not really ventured into Europe consistently, have we? So, like everything points to him being a decent signing for us, like a more than decent signing, because he was almost at goal a game, or he is at goal a game, I think. So yeah, it was a real blow that he's going to be out for a number of weeks now. So we can only hope that the boy Mhler comes in and fills his bits.
Did you notice there was no shout of lack of Scotsmen Thursday night when those teams playing? No,
I think one of their worst players was the Scotsman. No, was it? No.
It's amazing, eh? Just United they're getting hit with the hand of the brush, hit with the stick.
I know.
Call it what you will.
I think it's obviously all died down now, but it was very vocal when it actually happened, when we had a team name in it. because of injury, I would say. I think Ross Graham probably would have
100%.
definitely been in it. You
100%.
didn't name boys captain to put them on the bench or leave them in the stand. So
No, 100%.
Injury cost us that. But if it's a wee record that we've got that other teams wouldn't want any better, so be it. But it's going to become commonplace. We've said it for a few weeks now. That will be the norm because, like, Aberdeen have signed so many foreign guys as well. Like, everybody's signing foreign boys because when you're going for Scots boys, you're getting priced out.
Yeah, 100%. We've kind of repeated ourselves over and over again. Just touching back on what you said, do you think it'll be the last one with Nikolai coming in? With Kai going, I would think Richard O'Dara's probably going to go at some point. I'm not sure.
That might be like a mutual parting of ways, though.
Might be, but I still think when you look at the squad as a whole, and this is not on any notes, this is getting thrown right out here. The squad as a whole now, I think striker department we're probably done. Take the injury out of it, but there's 4 strikers there because Owen Sturton's one of them. Midfield we're probably okay, but you could say might be light.
Yeah.
Defensively, I think, again, okay. With Luca coming in, we get that right wing back, probably his favourite position, but can play in there. Is there still a position glaringly obvious, or an area on the park glaringly obvious, you think? Jim, go and noise up across the pond here.
It's probably not so much on the park, Rondo. It's when you look at the bench. Like the bench just now is Scotty Constable, Charlie Dewar.
Because of the injuries, yeah.
Yeah. So if, as we suspect, they boys are going out on loan, like you're relying on all these guys that are injured to come back just to fill the bench. So yeah, it probably won't surprise me if we do bring in somebody else. But like guys like O'Dada, like until you said his name there, I've not thought about him for a couple of weeks. I totally forgot that he's still in the country.
He'll be away.
So if he goes, Kai goes, and a few of the boys go out on loan, then yeah, we're no far away from another crisis if we get a few more injuries, I suppose.
I mean, if they take O'Dara and Kai go in, plus the injuries, there's 8 boys. You're no picking at the minute.
Yeah.
There's your bench.
Yeah. And if they go or when they go, that's on top of the guys that we did lose from last season. So
yeah,
we're probably still at a net loss, like players that have went out, players that have come in, I would say.
Just do it on a Sunday morning and be
correct. But I'm sure like would still be 1 or 2 done.
Yes. Yeah. So it will be interesting. The window, of course, slam shut. I think on, it must be Monday the 1st, I think.
Next week.
But obviously the loan market stays open for the chat for other teams below. Again, if you have a co-op deal and stuff like that, it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, I think for players coming in, we have to do our business this week. That has to be done this week if there will be number 15 in the building.
Yeah, well, didn't tell me.
And it would have to be permanent, remember.
Tell Mr. Ogren.
He would
tell the good ones.
They would. All I could picture was the tag team for the WWF, mind the Godwins, kicking about with a pair of dungarees on.
Somebody can do AI on that and get their heads on them.
Yeah, maybe. So yeah, I think it would have to be permanent, and obviously it would need to be this week if number 15 was to be in the building.
Yeah.
Do you think percentage-wise are happening? What are you thinking?
50-50. Wait, and I'll get that splinter out my arse for sitting on the fence.
Honestly, take that fence post out your arse. Right, buy me a coffee this week. Ramsey bought us 3 coffees. There's some coffees, or maybe a nice warm juice from the Tannadice pie kiosks. Thanks for the effort for these weekly podcasts.
And Nabes, he bought these digital coffees pair well with a steak and black pudding pie at Gayfield, apparently, Rondo. And they were bought for Bratislava, 1 hour for Gjør, because the gamble failed.
And he is very much there, because he's been posting pictures up for his trip to Bratislava. Bill Ireland bought 3 coffees. Thanks for your effort, guys. A great way to share the highs and lows of following United every Monday morning.
Richard McBride, great job, guys. Thanks for all the time and effort that goes into this.
Gary and Emily, the Kerry Arabs, bought a coffee. Great podcast, makes the Monday commute to work bearable. Mon the shed. You might need a slightly longer commute today.
I think so, yeah. Yeah, just the round trip of whatever. And Gav Myloff, I love the podcast, lads. Putting on the podcast at work on a Monday morning as part of my United support and weekly routine. Keep up the great work and shed rule, Rondo. Yep,
thank you very much to everyone who's bought a coffee to help support the podcast. Find all the details, storefoxpodcast.com.
We're not going to speak about wall of kits this week
Why not?
because there's a thing in the place where the kit should be.
Yep, if you're watching on YouTube, the birthday gift from last week has
It's looking well, though.
took prime place. Tony Andrew
Looking well.
is there, so there's no wall of kits, but there is one hanging up off camera for next week.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no wall of kits for that. But next Sunday then, the derby is upon us.
Mm-hmm.
We're after Dens. It's a 2 p.m. kickoff for that. Are you in your normal, excitable state of a derby?
I'm looking forward to it. I wouldn't say I was excited, but I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be easy. I'll say that much. Never fear.
In what way?
Never fear the D's, and that's no an arrogance thing or whatever. Just I dare say they didn't fear us either. Never fear it. Usually look forward to it. It's a more than winnable game, but it's a more than losable game as well. And as we said a wee while back, from watching the games that I've saw Dundee in this season, they seem to have tightened up a bit at the back, but they're not as threatening going forward. They've now brought in the boy Danda. He's a good player. Murray's back fit. He's always up for a game against United.
Mm-hmm.
Always. So we've got to keep eye on him. And we've seen the good side of United this season, and we've seen the bad side of United this season as well. So it just depends. I would like you.
0-0 right now. Is that what you're saying?
No, I don't think it will be a 0-0 because I think that we've got goals in us, but we're also prone to conceding a rather sloppy effort. So I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure what to expect. I would imagine they'll be champing at the bit. When you look at their form in the league, like they went to Ibrox, they conceded a dodgy penalty, I would say, and then they went to Killie yesterday, and at times they rode their times they rode their luck, but they did come away with a clean sheet. So it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. I'm hoping that Jim Goodwin, as you said, it's not going to be no holiday camp this week leading up to the game, and we've got to be working on things that we all can see are needing worked on, and that's basically the defensive frailty when it comes to set pieces into the box or even a cross into the box. Yeah,
I think we'd sort of said last week that, right at the start of after that game last week, a couple of days off would do them all
the
world of good, but getting back and onto the training pitch and shelling bars into boxes, defending them, doing it. And it's not like they don't do it, because we've seen that it can happen, but it's just been that repetition of very similar goals being conceded constantly. And again, I keep saying, like, somebody throws it in for 35 years and it goes in the tap bin, you go, fair play to you, but or a set piece or what, or like a penalty or a free kick or what, but similar goals being conceded, it's not great.
No, and from yesterday's viewing in the Benidorm bedsit, like Dundee seemed to flood the midfield. Like they only had, I don't know what their formation was, but it looked like there was one up front, maybe just one behind, but the midfield was quite full. I hope we didn't go with the 3-4-3 personally. I would like us to get an extra.
Middle of the park.
I would like us to get 100%. An extra man in the middle there. We kind of lose the battle in the middle of the park, but then you think to yourself, well, was going to be the two up top? It's going to be Mhler, Fata, maybe.
Yeah,
I'm hopeful for Fata. I think he's going to have a hell of a good game. I like what I've seen.
Unpredictability, isn't it?
Yeah.
Of those kind of players, like no put pressure on any kind of player, but it was a wee bit like when you mentioned him, GMS would go, you just didn't really care what he was going to do.
Nah.
Or what way you'd go.
Neither did he.
That's all right. That's okay. That's fine.
Nah, Fata, he's maybe not got as many tricks, or we've not seen as many tricks as what GMS used to produce on a weekly basis almost. But yeah, there is that. You expect something to happen, or I'm expecting something to happen already, and I've only seen him for a couple of games. Yeah. But when he gets the bye, you just never can, and I think he could be really vital for us next week.
Yeah, I think if, especially, away from home, it'll be noisy for, I imagine, United sell their allocation out in about 2 hours or whatever, and I imagine they will sell relatively well. I don't think it'll be a sellout, but I think it'll be noisy for both teams, and you've got to. Speaking about putting a marker down early in a derby, maybe a special guest did speak about that today. But sometimes you do need to go and win that battle, win that battle early. Put a marker down early. You smashing into boys. And should have been red carded, as I think you'll hear later on.
Maybe,
But
maybe.
it's getting to win that battle and make the natives restless, and obviously try and get a goal and get on with it. But it will be an interesting team choice, a lineup choice, decisions to be made.
Yeah, because there's a lot of guys playing in the first one, so it's going to. We're going to. I'm no doubting anybody's going to be up for it or capable of coping with the atmosphere. Because although it's a big atmosphere for us, I'm assuming that these boys have played in bigger atmospheres. Like it's only going to be 10,000 at the game. But I would like to think that guys like Lucas Stevenson, Sibbald, boys that have been there, Will Ferry, will be in about their teammates, just reminding them like there's a lot at stake here. This is more than 3 points in many ways. This is so that Ronnie and Paul can go to their work on Monday without getting fucking slagged.
Yeah, you've got, like you say, Will, Luca, Vichko, even boys that are in the team, Ross Graham, Strapanovsky, Strain.
The backroom stuff as well.
Yeah, there's a lot there. I suppose given we've went through the kind of European thing as well, there's a lot, you've gained a lot of experience and going to places like, Vienna, which were rowdy. Say, I think it'll be okay. I think it's important to obviously start well, get a marker doing well. I mean, you look at the cup game last year, any other game, we win that. Despite conceding so early, we win that.
Yeah.
It just, unfortunately, it is. The game at Tannadice, an absolute clusterfuck.
100%.
Every angle.
100%.
And it was just, unfortunately, one of those games.
Yeah.
Jack Walton, brilliant last season, throws in.
And we couldn't defend.
Wow.
we just forgot how to defend.
It was wow.
Yeah. The most and we've talked about it before, but the most surprising thing about that game was the fact that it was 4-2 and the fourth goal was scored with the last kick of the match, because it felt like that could have been their 6-2 moment. That could have been more at one point.
Felt like after about half an hour that game, if I remember right.
Like Cameron got the goal chucked off as well, did he? Yeah. It's like we just didn't cope that day. For whatever reason, Lucas Stevenson going off injured didn't help us, because we saw how big an impact.
Was that the concussion? Is that when he missed a couple of weeks?
Yeah. We saw how big an impact it was when he wasn't in the team. Yeah, so there's a few wrongs to be righted next Sunday, I'm hoping.
Yeah, I think it will be interesting to see the team selection formation, how it's set up, because I imagine Jim Goodwin was there yesterday. Doing it Kilmarnock watching.
Well, he certainly wasn't in the Benidorm bedsit with me watching it, so.
Cozy.
Yeah, so I'm assuming he would have been at the game.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see what he took for it. The bits I saw, again, and I meant to bring this up earlier, because we've mentioned it. That pitch is horrendous, right? And there's one of them got a stay of execution for another year. Falkirk going to keep theirs for another season. Yeah. Right? That Kilmarnock pitch looks the worst of the lot of them, right? And again, I think when you watch it yesterday, Ken, there's a ball that clearly hits Simon Murray headers it, and it bounces out for they get a corner somehow. Kelly get a corner. The bounce is unnatural.
Yeah.
Like, it bounces so high, it's like, it shouldn't have bounced like that. Like, it just shouldn't have done it.
Yeah. So on about the pitches, at the start of the season, there was somebody on BBC Sports Sound, and I forget who it was. He was either for the SFA or the SPFL, one of the two. And the people on the show, they were trying to get him to commit to saying, look, so this will definitely be the last season.
Pressure.
This will be the last season we artificial pitches in the top flight. And he didn't commit. He was like, well, then there would have to be an awfully good reason.
Wow.
So when I got announced through the week there that Falkirk have got a stay of execution, and if they've got it, Livy are going to get it. You can't get to one and no to the others, I would assume.
Yeah.
So I'm going under the premise that these pitches are still going to be around for a couple of years yet.
Can we relegate 3 teams?
We need to do some sort of reconstruction. Yeah. Teams beginning with F, K, and L will all be demoted.
But yeah, it'll be that was just a sight. Again, just watching highlights again yesterday, you just go, nah, this is shite.
Yeah, and I refuse to believe that Kilmarnock players like playing on it. They're just used to it.
Yes,
but I don't think they'll like playing on it.
No,
it's rank.
No.
Basically, if you're going to heady pitches, then they've got to be elite. Like, they've got to be the top level. You kind of like they go on about these pitches have got a lifespan of X amount of years. But when But how often are you using them to get that lifespan? Like, these teams are training on them constantly, probably hiring them out.
Yeah, 100%.
And playing games on them.
But Falkirk do, as you aware, you've been doing there for a couple of things.
Yeah, it's you're no getting. What if they tell you that it's going to last 5 years? That's
2.5.
Well, at best, probably, yeah. And then it just starts getting worse and worse.
Yeah. Based on sort of what you've seen in the Benidorm Bedsit yesterday, what are the dangers we'll be looking at? What has Stephen Presley brought to this Dundee side, apart from a Scotland goalkeeper, it seems?
Yeah, well, there is that. Just a defensive solidity. Like, they're all working really hard. But I think the motivation for Dundee this season is the fact that almost everyone's wrote them off.
Yes.
So
including you.
Including, almost everyone. Like, and if some Dundee fans are honest with themselves, they probably wrote them off as well.
I mean, the whole pantomime of when he was appointed to how it started, obviously the League Cup and stuff.
Of course. So if they're honest with themselves, a lot of them will be of the opinion, I think we're going to struggle.
But again, we've said that and though. Like, first and foremost, if you can stop getting the bat and you're in net, you're doing all right.
That's
if a lot for him, you can pick up a point. You've done all right.
Yeah.
They're all building blocks.
Of course they are. I think the next step for, not that I care because I'm not a Dundee fan, but the next step for them is to then try and create more chances and put the ball in the net.
But no next week.
Absolutely. No, wait a couple of weeks.
Because there's definitely one boy
a couple of months.
Gunning for it who will love to gloat in our direction.
Simon Murray, it'll be like Christmas Eve next Saturday. He'll no get a sleep because he will be absolutely champing at the bit to get on that park and just try and cause havoc against us.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. And we've got to be ready for that. I can it's going to be the case. You can it. United players have got to can it as well.
Yeah. 2:00 kickoff next week at Dens, and then we'll have a late night pod of reflection.
Happiness.
After it.
It'll be happiness, Rondo.
Oh, class.
Be positive.
Right. Let's move on to the Tannadice Test. You just try to look at the answers there. I saw you. That's dirty, that. I don't know. That's why you kind of see.
You're only cheating yourself.
So the Tannadice Test is back. It's got music in the hand, as long as YouTube didn't copyright it, tap it out. You'll notice this music. This music's
Who am I?
Guess Who. Call it what you like.
Yeah.
I think it's been on music a few times. The Tannadice Test, if you're new to the podcast, thanks for finding us. This is where we have a lot of fun, and we have 5 rounds of fun that I'll ask Paul various questions, and then just for fun, he gets to answer them. And there might be sound effects for right and wrong.
Wow. Riveting stuff.
Round number 1's player profile.
Mm-hmm.
Born on July 9th, 1996 in Kirkintilloch. He was signed by Tam Courts. He went on to make 108 appearances, scoring 2 goals. Don't have the countdown music or anything, because we'll definitely get pulled up for that. So you just need to keep making noises, so if people that are listening, like if you're watching on YouTube, you can see the frustration, the thought process he's going through. But if you're not, all you're getting is dead air.
Yeah. Scott McMahon.
Scott McMahon? What's leading you to Scott McMahon?
2 goals.
Any him goals? Any certain?
I think he did score at him.
You remember it?
Vaguely.
Okay.
In the shed?
So we're going Scott McMahon?
I'm going Scott McMahon.
Scott Cameron McMahon.
Who was his goals against? You know got that?
No.
Nah, I'm pretty sure he scored in at Tannadice.
1 for 1.
Come on.
Round number 2, higher or lower? Morgaro Gomez made 209 appearances for United, over 3 million spells.
Mm-hmm.
Is Paul Dixon's appearances higher or lower?
Wow.
Morgaro Gomez, 209 appearances for United, Scottish Cup winner. Is Paul Dixon's appearances higher or lower?
I'm going to say Dicker's played more than Morgaro.
So Paul Dixon, higher.
Yeah.
Would you have a stab if you're that confident?
220.
220. Firstly, is it higher or lower? You're saying higher. 223.
Excellent. 2 good guys, 2 heroes. One of them born in Aberdeen, but we don't hold that against them.
2 for 2.
2 for 2.
Season snapshot.
I was 2 for 2 last week as well, Rondo.
Well, I didn't want to say. You're the one that's brought that up. United finished in 4th place, securing European football in the final day of the season. They played a total of 47 competitive matches during the season. In the cup competitions, United lost in the semi-final of the Tennent's Scottish Cup to eventual winners Aberdeen, and they lost in the Skol Cup 3rd round to Hamilton. United had 13 players score, with the team scoring 50 goals in total, and had 1 player sent off.
That will be...
What's your thought process? Where are you with this?
You know what, I was going to jump in with 1984-85, which is wrong, because United were in the Scottish Cup final that year. That was my first Scottish Cup final. So I think it's the season after. I think it's 85-86, I'll say.
586 for season snapshot.
Bollocks.
89-90.
Bollocks. Miles it.
Not even close. 2-3. Still doing well. 66%.
Yeah, I'm on a downer though.
I would say you are. Also played for Cheltenham Town, East Stirlingshire, Falkirk, or as I've spelt it, Falkirk, Greenock Morton, Hibs, Partick Thistle, Raith Rovers, Ross County, and St Johnstone. Falkirk. An idiot.
What are the teams again?
Cheltenham Town, East Stirlingshire, Falkirk, Greenock Morton, Hibs, Partick, Raith, Ross County, St Johnstone.
No idea. John O'Neill. I don't think it's him, but no idea.
Brian Graham.
Next question, Rondo.
Who am I? 2 for 4, 50%. This is your 3 for 5s where you want to be.
60%.
I signed 28 players in my time at United. My first match in charge was a 1-1 draw with Arbroath. My biggest win was a 6-1 against Cowdenbeath, and I won a trophy during my 72 games in charge. I won 37, drew 19, lost 16 before leaving by mutual consent, and I'm currently in my 5th manager's job since leaving Tannadice.
I think it's Raymond McKinnon.
Correct!
Yeah, it's that trophy right there, Rondo.
There it is. That was nice and easy, was that?
60%. This, honestly, I joked about it last week. This is like back at scale. That was my limit. 60%.
3 out of 5. So well done to you. There's no prize or anything.
That's all right.
Like that. But loan report then. This'll take long.
It really winna. Rory Adams at East Fife. Rory would get his 2nd start on Saturday as his old team Kelty were the visitors to Bayview. He still hasn't kept a clean sheet, but he has picked up his 2nd win bonus in 2 games. Rory would get the full 90 minutes and would finish the game with his head bandaged up after a coming together with a teammate, but his side ran out 2-1 winners in the Fife derby. The Academy and B team, there wasn't any action for the B team or the Academy lads last week, but this coming Tuesday the B team will travel up to Elgin to play their 2nd game in the KDM Evolution Trophy. The women's team, after getting their league campaign off to a winning start last week with a home win against Queen's Park, the team were due to travel through to Edinburgh to face fellow relegated side from last season, the Spartans, today. The Spartans are likely to be one of their main challengers this season, so it would be a good to lay down a marker the day, Rondo, and bring some points back him for that. So good luck to them.
Oh, is that it?
That's it. Put that water down.
Anyway, right, we jumped on Zoom over the summer to talk to this man. So our guest this week is a man with a no-nonsense style and a reputation that often saw him in the referee's book. No stranger to a tough tackle or a big moment at Tangerine. Calum Butcher joins us to look back at his time at Tannadice. Calum, how are you?
Thanks for having me, lads. Yeah, I'm all good. It's nice to, like I said before, nice to hear a Scottish voice again. Nice to be seeing some familiar faces and hopefully have a nice chat.
It works for us. Like we ask all our guests, can you take us right back to the start? What was life like growing up in Essex in the 1990s?
Yeah, it was good. You know, I started off playing football when I was maybe 8 or 9. I didn't really start playing into a team until I was about 10. Joined just a local team of mine, Lee Rockets. Going back to like my first footballing memory would have been going to a tournament, and I think at the time I was a striker, so I was scoring lots of goals and just enjoying my football like that. And it went from there really. I was there for a year or so, and you know, as you do, people start watching games, and you go into sort of trials and stuff like that, and yeah, led me on to other things. I went into to Ipswich at about 11 years old, like the feeder group. They had a local feeder group here because it was the distance, and my mum was taking me here, there, and everywhere, and I went locally to Ipswich for a little bit, and started to really kick on then, really, and started to really sort of look at football as something I really wanted to do, and you know, I could see a pathway that I thought I could join. So yeah, I went back and forth with Ipswich, went down to Ipswich sometimes, and was playing there, and I can't really remember what happened in terms of them offering me something to go in, but the distance was a real issue, and I wasn't enjoying it as much. And you're traveling after school, you know, when it's like getting from school and you're like 4 o'clock, and then you're straight in the car and you're down to Ipswich 2 hours and you're training, and yeah, it was tough. And very thankfully, I had you know, a mum that was doing all that for me and helping me, and but I did see at that age that I wasn't enjoying it as much, and that concerned me a little bit, because I love playing football. So I come out of there and end up just staying locally and going in at Southend. So I'm from Southend, so Southall was my local team. At the time, they had an academy there, so I went into Southend for a year or two until I was about 13. And they had a good setup. Southend were doing well. They was, you know, in the Championship, top of League One, and you know, it's quite a big fan base down here that would go to all the games. So I would go into a few games, and yeah, I was enjoying my time then playing at Southend, and had some friends from school, and yeah, I was changing positions. I was actually more of an attacking player as a kid. So I never played centre half, never played defensive midfield, as you know me. But yeah, I was more of an attacking player, and I sort of fell into moving back as the years went on. But as a kid, I was all, you know, probably why I'll end up in Borders League with all that flair, which you never got to see. But yeah, like I said, I then obviously moved on, and I don't know how it came about. I managed to get a trial at Tottenham, and just something came up that there was a trial to go in, and they had like an open day or something along them lines, and I ended up going up there, and I played in the game. It was kind of like, come in, see how you are, we'll have a look at you, and we'll go from there. And I played in this game, and I played centre half. Like, I don't know if it was just like they needed a defender or whatever happened on that day. And literally after the game, they was like, yeah, we'll offer you a contract straight away. So I was like, bloody hell, it's Tottenham. Do you know what I mean? It's a massive step from where I was. But again, like I said, I was always an attacking player. To then go back to there, you know, I just didn't really know what I was doing, if I'm honest with you. And
How old were you then? How old?
about 14. About 14. So yeah, it happened really quickly, and I was sort of been at Spurs, and some of these academy players had been there since they're like 9, 8, 7 years old. So I kind of went in the system a little bit later than normal. But again, I went into a great environment. You know, there's some unbelievable players, and our team, even at that age, was so good. And yeah, we had some top players that have gone on to have, you know, unbelievable careers. So my grounding at the start was really, really good. I was really, really lucky. And amazing coaches. You know,
Can you remember like that first footballing memory when you would kick the ball about the playground to then at 14 being at Spurs? You know, it's quite a journey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And like I said, it all happened really quickly. Going from playing like Sunday League with your mates, and I was always playing football as a kid. I was always at the park, or every day I come home from school, I was outside. Like it was just an obsession, like as you do when you're young, just obsession. And then once you go into that academy environment, like I had a taste of it at Ipswich, Southend, but when you go on somewhere like Spurs, you kind of really see what's going on, and you sort of like your eyes open a little bit to how close you could get to playing at White Hart Lane and all these big stadiums. But I was actually an Arsenal fan, so to go in at Spurs at that age was a little bit like
felt dirty.
Yeah, but because you're at a club, and I think the first time I got all that your kit, like you go in and like you sign, and like, as a kid, it's like all the kits and the boots and all that, and you roll up and they give you like this massive suitcase, and it's just like anything you could think of. Like I think it was Kappa at the time. Kappa were like Tottenham sponsor, so we just had like everything Kappa, and I was just like, I just quite like Spurs, quite good. So like changed pretty quickly. But yeah, as a kid, I was, I went to Highbury, went to Arsenal, a lot of Arsenal games. And
when you were starting to get into football, when you were kicking the ball about the playground or something, who was it that you pretended to be?
At the time, it was probably like Dennis Bergkamp or Terry.
I could see the similar style.
Yes.
Yeah, can you see that?
Can you see that
played? Yeah. Very similar. Me and Bergkamp like that.
Bergkamp was unbelievable. That goal at Newcastle still like class. How does he do it?
Special. But yeah, that was kind of my Patrick Vieira, maybe Austin.
That's me like it.
How I'd like to, But yeah, I watched a lot of Arsenal. So when I went into Spurs, obviously you get the tickets as a kid, and they try and make you part of the family, and you go to all the games, and so very quickly I kind of jumped ship to Spurs, and yeah, I went on that journey at Tottenham. Like I said, I had some, probably didn't at the time. You don't appreciate the coaching you get in and the setup that you have. But some of my coaches have gone on. Alex Inglethorpe's now heading up at Liverpool. He's like top dog at Liverpool. You've got John McDermott, who now does all of the England stuff. So like, Chris Ramsey, Les Ferdinand was there, Tim Sherwood at one point. Some really good coaches, and yeah, that as you sort of go through your career and you're working with different managers, a lot of the stuff I was doing even later on in my career, like 31, 32, that started when I was like 14, 15. And you don't really realise how lucky you was to have that sort of upbringing in the system and playing with some, top players, and pretty much everyone from our youth team went on to have a really, really successful career.
When you played that trial match for Tottenham, just you may not remember, but obviously you thought in your own mind you were like a striker at that time. Who was the striker that day that made Calum Butcher have to go back to centre half?
Yeah, do you know what? I couldn't even tell you. I'd like to say Harry Kane.
I was going to say you should have just bullshitted and said it was Harry Kane.
Harry was a year younger than me. He didn't move up until we was like 16, 17. So I honestly wouldn't know who it was. But again, going back to that, when they sort of put me back at centre half, I just tried to dribble through like everyone, and shooting from like the halfway line, all that sort of crazy stuff you do as a kid. And I think that's probably what they liked. I didn't really go in there with wasn't nervous, didn't really need to think about it. It was just like, as Tottenham is pretty cool, let's go and have a kick about, really. And I think a lot of these, big clubs, when you're coming through at that age, they're looking for something that's a little bit different, maybe, like, something they haven't got, and maybe me just tearing around the pitch, just tackling and just having that bit of enthusiasm was something they liked and something they thought they could work with. So yeah, I was put myself in a position where I managed to go in straight away, which, looking at it now, when you see boys going in for 6-week, 8-week trial, for them to say after 90 minutes that we'd love to have you, was pretty special.
What then happens once you get sort of that deal then? What would have been next in that kind of path for you there? Is it play as many games at youth level, get up the youth levels as quick as you can type thing?
You go in at 14, and I think I signed a 2-year contract, so that took me up to 16. And yeah, it's just, you go into obviously the system, you're playing, you're training 3 times a week, 4 times a week. Again, a lot of travelling, but it's kind of at that stage when I knew this is where I wanted to do. I really wanted to give this a massive go. I didn't really have another option. I did as a kid love playing tennis. So like tennis and football at that age, it was kind of like a toss up of what I wanted to do. And I wasn't bad at tennis as well. So my tennis coach was quite annoyed when I said I'm actually going to go and play football. And I see him now because he's locally, and he always says to me like, "You could have been good at tennis." So I sort of went down that route, and the pathway sort of goes to you end up playing the Chelsea's, Arsenal's, going to that youth system, and then it's the coaching side, and it's developing. And at the time we had some, like I said, some top coaches, and it was so competitive that age group that we had in particular. Even some of the coaches still talk about it now. I mean, could reel off like 10 players that have gone on to play 200, 300, 400 games in professional football, which very rarely happens for one age group. So to have that amount of boys to do that just showed how good it was and how difficult it was at the time. I mean, we never lost. We beat everybody. And I think Arsenal at the time had some really good players. You're talking like Jack Wilshere and Frimpong, J. Manuel Thomas, Sanchez Watt. They had a really good core. They were probably our biggest, obviously not because of the derby, but biggest rivalry. And other than them, we would dominate. We would dominate a lot of tournaments we went to. Did a lot of travelling as a kid. I was very lucky to do Mexico tournaments, Belgium, Holland, France. They tried to get you as many different styles of play as you could at a young age, which was amazing. When I look back now and I look at all the tournaments I went to play in and all the different players I played against, really lucky to do that and have those experiences. And it definitely made you a better player. All those different styles, like Spanish, driving around and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it was just very lucky to have that as a kid and that pathway to the first team.
We always need to ask for players that come through a system like that, where is school on the list of priorities when you're getting to 15, 16 and you can leave school?
Yeah, so I think it was around 15 they did like a day release. So it was pretty new. I don't think it really was. We're going back 15 years now, but it was pretty new for the kids to have this like day release thing. So you would have 2 days a week at school, and then the third day you go up and you train and you do a little bit of schooling at Tottenham, and then the next day you go to school, and then the next day after that you do another session. And they're trying to sort of creep you into what is the day-to-day of what it takes to be a professional footballer. So I was pretty lucky with that, and my school was good enough to obviously they have to let you go, but I think I probably wouldn't have gone in anyway. I was very lucky to have that, and we was going in. By the time I was 15, 16, we was going in twice a week in at Spurs, and obviously then you're sort of around the first team because obviously you train at night. When you're schooling, then you're around the first team. You're sort of looking, you're like, bloody hell, that's Robbie Keane. That's Jonathan Woodgate, and then you become that little, like, you realise where you are even more when you're in there in the daytime. So like schooling was not really on the top of the list at the time, I'll be honest.
Did you have little jobs to do at Tottenham? Like up here, I don't know if it's the same in England, but up here you used to have the younger players cleaning boots, cleaning footballs, cleaning showers, like cleaning everything.
Yeah, to be fair, that Tottenham were very good. I know there's a lot of other clubs that don't, make the boys do as much, but I was cleaning boots. My boot, I was cleaning Ledley King's and Jonathan Woodgate's boots.
Good tippers.
Jonathan Woodgate did tip me at Christmas. I don't know what happened to Ledley, but Jonathan Woodgate looked after me. I remember him coming in one day. I was sitting at the canteen to see him, and I think he just signed or something. He just come in, and he sort of come in. He went, "Who's Calum Butcher then?" And I was sort of sitting there, and I was like, "Oh no, what is this?" So I put my head up, and I'm not like that. And he's like, "You're my boot boy." I was like, "Okay, yeah." He was like, "I'll sort you out. Don't worry. Just make sure they're always clean." And I was in there every morning just like, loving away. But yeah, Tottenham are very good at trying to keep the boys grounded. Obviously, you're at a massive club, and it's very easy to get lost in in what it takes to become a footballer and have that discipline. So our youth team coaches and managers were really good at making sure the boys were, well, not just because it's you cleaning someone's boots, but it's a respect side of it, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? You want to be where they are, so you've got to find a way to get there, and it helped as well. Speaking to the first team, it made it easier to approach. Jonathan Woodgate was my position, so I remember going in. Dawson was unbelievable with like the youth team players. So like Dawson was playing centre half at the time, and I was playing centre half. Woodgate and Deadly King, and they talked to us, and having that bit of conversation about your boots then led on to something else. So it's quite clever, and the coaches used to say that to us, like that's a conversation starter. So when you're talking about your boots, drop in what do you think of this, and it was amazing to have that around you at the time.
I could imagine. What was Harry Redknapp like?
Yeah, so by the time I'd come into like the day-to-day, which was YTS, so obviously you go 16 and then you get offered your YTS, and I actually had a really bad injury. I fractured my back when I was like 16, so I was out for 6 months, and I was touch and go of whether I was going to get a scholarship to come in. I remember they pulling me in one day and was like, no, we're going to give you an opportunity to come in. We'll give you 2 years, make sure your back's okay. Really looked after you. By that point, Harry had just come in. I think we had Ramos. Was it Ramos before him?
One day Ramos, yeah.
Yeah, one day Ramos. And then Harry had come in the next season. So it was like my second year scholar. And he was brilliant. He was brilliant with me. And the young lads. I went on tour with, by this time I was like training with the first team. They actually, which probably didn't help a lot of players at the time, and definitely didn't help me, was they scrapped the reserve league. So they scrapped all of the reserve league. So we were just playing like development games. But at the time, I probably needed that reserve league. I was a young centre half. I hadn't like learnt my trade as they say. And men's football was the next step, was reserve team. But Harry would make everyone play in these development games, and you'd have like, don't want to start on names, but Gareth Bale, Carl Walker was playing, Sandro in midfield. You had like, everybody would end up playing in these games. So again, to have these boys around you and you're playing in these games and you're learning from them, and Harry would come and watch, and Joe Jordan was there, which was brilliant, and Kevin Bond. And they were great with the young lads. Obviously, Harry had a bit of a reputation of bringing young lads through. But he was really good. He was really good to me, and I ended up going on tour with them to America. We went out my second year as a scholar, and we went on tour and done all the American stuff. And he'd always speak to you, he'd always pull you, how are you? And yeah, really, really good with the young players, and always had time to speak to you. And you're in a bit of awe because it's Harry Redknapp, but at the same time, he was always down to earth, and it was never, any awkwardness with the younger players, which was really nice.
I think I'd have been more in awe of Joe Jordan.
Aye.
/ fearful.
Yeah, he'd walk into the the physio room, and he'd just be on his bike in the morning, like just like a towel over his head, and he'd just be like on his back, and he'd be going for it, sweat like dripping off, and you'd want to say morning, but he'd sort of be like, you just look at it to see if and glance, and he'd just go like that, and you'd be like, yeah, and you just sort of like walk past him, but try and skip him out. But like very lucky to have these sort of proper footballers around you, proper footballing people around you at that young age, and showing you the ropes.
Yeah, you went on loan at Barnet.
Yeah. So I didn't enjoy that at all. But we, like I said, at the time we had this no reserve league, and all the players were going out on loan. So a lot of the boys went to Yeovil. Club had a bit of a thing with Yeovil, so boys were going there, and some went to Torquay, I think, and Doncaster, all this sort of stuff. And I was probably one of the last ones to really go on loan. I was still there, dipping out of the first team training with the youth team, no reserve league. And then Barnet sort of said, you fancy coming in? And it was local, so it kind of helped. And I went in. It was my first sort of taste of first team football, which was important. I needed it. I definitely wasn't ready. I just turned 18. I definitely wasn't ready to go into men's football. And you go from the style of play of like total football at Tottenham to then my first game was against Ftheringham, and you're like, this is what's up. Do you know what I mean?
That's an eye opener.
Yeah, and I was playing right back. I ended up playing right back, and he literally was. Ftheringham was going, put it on him. And he literally stand on me. Obviously, saw me, and he was like, stand. And I was a lot skinnier. I was like, little boy, really. And he's like, put it on him, and he would just come and he would just hold me there, right, and he would just flick it on. And he must have done it like 50. And until I worked out, right, I can't get close to him. I'm gonna have to give myself a yardage to get a bit of a run up. But yeah, real eye opener. And you go from an environment where everything's really easy. Really, you've got like beautiful pitches.
Yeah, almost spoiled. Spoiled.
Yeah, 100%. You go like salmon every day or sea bass or whatever you wanted, and then you go into Barnet where these boys are like relegation battle. They've got to win to pay the mortgage. Like this is it. And I get it 100%. Maybe not so for it's more your development as a man compared to your style of football, which you're not used to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I only lasted like 4 or 5 games, and then the manager was going in and out, and it was sort of like put me in the team for 2 or 3 games. Then I come out of the team, took me in again, and I was like, I think it's better off for me to go back and sort of work on myself at Spurs and look for another opportunity to go and play.
You knew you were away to play in Fenway again, didn't you?
Yeah, it's like that Northampton trip away wasn't looking. Tuesday night was not looking good. But yeah, you grow up. You definitely grow up. Just being in a different environment.
Yeah,
I mean, like being around men.
Would you go into there full time then? Because I know obviously sometimes up here youth, if they're going to part time teams, they'll stay full time, like with United, and might then only train. So would you have went there all in full time at Barnet?
Yeah. But Barnet were full time. Barnet were in League 2. So then there was
big difference.
Yeah, but I was in there full time, and it was it was a real eye opener. But again, some really good pros there that I learned a lot of, and some really good young players. We had like Albert Adoma, Yannick Balassi was there at the time. Some really good young players that went on to have good careers as well. And yeah, again, a massive eye opener. And then I went back to Spurs. I think I went back to Spurs for the last year or 2 of my contract.
And then when you left Spurs, you ended up in Denmark. How does that come about?
Yeah, so there's a few of these stories. We could be here a while. But I was at Spurs, and I managed to, in between Barnet and all that, I managed to get in the Europa League squad. So I was on the bench for Spurs against Tannadice, and I had that experience, which was amazing. But I always knew I wasn't getting close to the first team. I always knew, like, I'd train with them, but I was never really involved. And you kind of know your pathway. And there was a lot of a younger lad coming through at the time that was doing really well. And you see the ones that they really want to push, and the ones that they're sort of going, will have a career, but maybe not here. So those conversations were kind of going on, and I was getting frustrated, seeing everybody sort of make their steps, and I didn't feel like I was getting anywhere. And I have been that way the whole way through my career. I've always been like, if it's not happening, I've got to go and find another opportunity. So I'd gone to Dallas, this Dallas Cup thing, and this agent approached me after one of the games and said, like, this is before the MLS was what it is now. It was like, look, I've got a few clubs here. They like you from this tournament. Do you fancy coming out here? And this is, around August, September time. We went to this tournament. So I come back, and I sort of sat on it for a little bit. And he was coming back to me with things like, do you fancy coming out? Blah, blah, blah. And I was sort of like, I think about it. And then in that January, so I had 6 months left at Tottenham. In that January, he come to me and said, look, supporting Kansas City, they really like you. They really find you. So I'm like, okay, that seems like a cool opportunity, something a bit different. I'm always looking for something, I've gone into that experience of Barnet, and I was like, do I want to leave Tottenham and go into that, or do I want to go and play 50, 100 games somewhere different, which I ended up doing in Denmark. Somewhere different to really like learn my craft. So to like Sporting Kansas City, and I was on a call with them, like a Zoom call like this, and we're talking, and the manager was like, "Yeah, come out here, blah blah." Anyway, I ended up leaving Spurs. I went in and spoke to them. I said, "Look, I've got 6 months left. I want to leave my contract. I want to look at this opportunity." Some of the youth team managers were like, "You're mad. Like, what are you doing?" And I was like, "No, it's something I want to do. I want to try." So, and I was dealing with this agent at the time, going back and forth. Anyway, I ended up cutting my contract up at Tottenham and had the opportunity to move. So he calls me up like the day before, and he's like, "Yeah, just to let you know, when you go to," and I'm thinking I'm signing. I'm thinking like, I'm going out there, I'm signing a contract, and I'm going to be playing in the MLS. Like, this is cool. So he reached out. He said, "When you get to the airport, we're going to have to send you a letter to say you're going on trial to get through with the visa." And I was like, "A trial?" I was like, This is not what we've spoken about. Do you know what I mean? He's like, no, don't worry about it. Just come on. Straight away, the alarm bells are going. I'm like, I think I've been shafted there. Like, I don't know what's going on. So anyway, I go with it. I have to go with it now. I'm in. So I go out to America, out to Sporting Kansas City, and we go on like pre-season tour to Arizona, and I'm on trial. Like I've left Tottenham. Like I've come out of the massive comfort zone, that I had. Where I could have gone on and stayed in England potentially in 6 months, and I've taken this massive risk. And now I'm on trial at like Kansas City, and I was like, what the hell is going on? So I was confused, angry, like all a bit. I was only just about to turn 19. I was a baby in the world, and I didn't really know what was going on. But I went with it. Was out there for 2 or 3 weeks, and they, with the MLS, they get players that come to the league, and then they sort of distribute them through the league. So I think at the time I was playing centre half, and they got this lad from come out of Real Madrid, and he's like, they've come to him, and then Kansas have obviously taken him, and then they're sort of like, we can't take you. And I was like, I've made all this massive commitment to come out here, and all of a sudden I'm left without a club, and I've got to go back home. And the agent, and I obviously had a big argument with the agent. The agent was like, "No, we can take you." I was like, "No, you've let me down massively. This isn't what I thought it was, and I'm gonna leave." So I ended up coming back to England with no club, and I was really out of the loop, and only 19, and I really didn't know what I was going to do next. So I come back. I think I come back in the February time, just keeping myself fit. I was just in parks training on my own, and with friends, and I could do 5-a-side, 7-a-side, and I was just like, come from training with Gareth Bale and Luka Modric to a park on my own, and it's literally how football is. It's like how quickly it can change overnight. So I was just looking for another opportunity. I went in on a few trials, and Aldershot at the time had offered me to go in for a trial. Again, played in a game. They really liked me. They offered me a contract. Was going down to League Two again, which I didn't want to do. I wanted to try another path, but I had to at the time. It was a way to get back into football. And I went in there, and I went for my medical, and I failed my medical. So I was like, it's just getting worse. Do you know what I mean? I was really like, what the flipping hell is going on there? I had an issue with my shoulder. I kept on dislocating my shoulder in games, and I know I needed an operation, but I thought, it's your shoulder, to play through it, get it strapped, all that sort of stuff. But they was like, no, throw your medical. And I remember coming out of there, and I was nearly in tears. I was just like, I don't know where I'm going to get a break here, or what my next opportunity is going to be. So they sort of said, look, we're happy for you to come in, we'll work on your shoulder, but we can't offer you a contract. And I was like, I'm not going to keep traveling this distance, with no money and not know where it's going, for you to go 6 weeks down the line like I did in America, and go like, not for me. So back to the drawing board, really. And then literally out of the blue, I don't know how it came about, Julius Eskersonen, centre half at Tottenham, you going back a few years, he had a friend that was a sporting director at this club. They were looking for a centre half. He trained with me. He said, have a look at this lad. He's young, come out of top of the bar. But I don't know how it came about. get a phone call really out of the blue one day, this team in Denmark, and they're like, look, we know the situation. We know that you'd failed this medical. We're happy to bring you over. We'll play until Christmas because the times were like, you'd play until Christmas, you'd have a break. We'll play until Christmas and you'll get your surgery. And I was like, hallelujah. Do you know what I mean? I've got to go with it. And I'd always wanted to go abroad and try something different. Like I said, I obviously tried the American thing, it didn't work out. And Les Ferdinand coming through was my reserve team development manager. And he said to me, he pulled me aside one day and said, look, if you get the opportunity to go abroad, I think he went to Turkey before QPR or in between QPR. And he said, you will love it. You'll love it. You'll grow up. You'll be on your own. You'll find yourself like out there, just doing it on your own and finding your own way. So yeah, ended up crazy going from Spurs, literally within 6 months. And I was riding a bike to training in Denmark. Literally riding a bike to training in Denmark. No one had cars out there. So you literally find a pedal bike and you bike to training. But it was amazing. I had a great time there and absolutely freezing. Like,
can imagine.
Ridiculous. Obviously, Scotland bad, but this was.
Hey.
But a great experience again. I was out there. They were all speaking Danish. I didn't speak a word of Danish. Manager would talk to me in English. I didn't lose stuff after listening to a lot of the team talks. It was unreal. I had a really good friend out there that was my only real mate. That could speak English, which was a lad from Holland. I still speak to you now. And yeah, so just cracked on playing games. But I managed to play those 30, 40 games that I needed to work on myself and develop.
What was the standard like over in Denmark?
So the team I went to was in the first division, so just outside the top division. And it was good. They were very physical. I'm probably close to Scotland in terms of physicality. Everybody was up for every game. There was, balls in the box, a lot of defending crosses, and it's quite a lot of similarities with Scotland. But good standards and very, very good players. We played obviously in pre-season, go and play Copenhagen and like Northland and all these top teams, Viborg at the time, and some really, really good footballers. But yeah, great experience to play abroad and just see things differently. And I think you, as a kid, like again, coming through at Spurs, you're kind of like, England's the only place you can play football. And a lot of kids do that now. And I've been doing a lot of, so we'll obviously talk about, I like mentoring kids now with agencies. And I always say to them, like, it's a massive world out there. There's so many places to play football. Don't just have like tunnel vision that, England is the only place that you can make a career for yourself, because you can go anywhere. We're probably the only country where we don't look abroad as much as other countries do, where they look at, I can go here and play, I can go there and play. Everybody's playing, all these different foreigners are playing everywhere, where we kind of stick to Scotland or England.
Yeah, is that because do you not think though a lot of football players like they want to get to England for various reasons, like obviously the money and whatever, but
of course.
So when you start out in England, it's maybe hard to imagine why would I want to go elsewhere when this is where everybody else wants to be.
I agree. I think you have, obviously when you're coming through, a bigger club, or you're even whatever club you're at as a kid, you've got tunnel vision on the Premier League. It's like that is where I've got to get to. Like if I'm going to be a footballer, I'm going to get to the Premier League. And you've got to believe that you can do that. I'm just saying, as you get closer to it, and you realise there's maybe not an opportunity, and obviously it's 1 in a million to make it to the Premier League, but you've got to have that belief that you're going to get there, but then realise there's a massive world out there, and there's so many clubs to go and play for. And who's to say you won't come back to that? You see club, you see players do it now. You see a lot of the Scottish boys go out to these foreign clubs, find another pathway, end up back in the Premier League, or end up at a massive European club. Yeah. So it's definitely changing. But back when I started, not a lot of people were doing that. You'd go down. You do Tottenham or, and I know coming through a youth team, that's the pinnacle. Tottenham, Arsenal, Chelsea, West Ham, all these clubs. Going backwards to National League, and it's an ego thing as well. I think a lot of boys that come out go, I'm not doing that. I'm better than that. And then they very quickly realised that you can't have that in football. You can't have that massive ego to think that you're better than anybody, because it bites you in the arse.
This might tie in slightly with what you say, stuff you're doing now, and obviously it's 20 years ago, not to put an age on it, but you're maybe at Tottenham and whatever. But how do you think money's changed in youth footballers? Now, I'm not asking for a figure, but I'm assuming you're not an astronomical as a kid 20 years ago. You'd be doing all right. But compared to what some of the kids you read now could be getting, the cars they could be driving, the wash bags they come in with, like, that's got to be a big thing that, like you're saying there, when a player gets released for a club like that, they're looking at I don't know, like say the bottom, not even League 2 below that, they're going, I'm not playing there. And then obviously, 6 months you're in the park playing with your mates. What do you do?
Yeah, I agree. And when I was coming through, Tottenham were very good at structuring it, so you weren't allowed to earn a certain amount before you did. And I know they probably, moved this line.
There's an extra zero on it now.
Moved this line for extra players at my age, but now, I think there's still a lot of clubs out there that try and do it the right way, but you just can't, because if you want to compete, and you want to sign the best young players, again, you have to put another zero on it. So it's really difficult to manage, and without, and again, it comes down to the player. You can give some players you can give a lot of money to as a kid, they're not going to change, and some will, and that's just comes down to a lot of growing up and that family situations and all these sorts of things that are going on away from football can determine how a player reacts to all of a sudden earning extraordinary amounts of money. But definitely, and obviously with Brexit now, what I've seen and working with agencies and doing the bits that I've been doing, the market for young players is huge in England. And I mean, going right down to like League 1, League 2, if Man United, Chelsea, Arsenal, Tottenham can find a player that they don't have to go and jump through hurdles to bring over from Europe, and they're going to pay a lot of money to bring him in, that they'll do it. They'll do it, and it's crazy. It is really crazy. You're talking parents with jobs and houses and travel and all these sorts of stuff they throw at these young kids. It's tough. It's like, think of the pressure of that as a kid. 14-year-olds. I'm not to dive into too many things, but it was a situation. I've been working with his agency, and there's a situation where a young player, Man City really wanted to sign him, and the agent knew about it, and they were sort of throwing a job for the dad and a car for the mum and a house for this and paying off mortgages and all that sort of stuff, and the agent was like, I can't tell that kid at 14 that if you don't go there and do well enough, that you're going to lose all that. How can you put that pressure on that young kid and expect him to go and perform at that age? So that's what you're sort of dealing with. And it's not, look, if the money's there, the players should get it. But it's still crazy to think at 14 that those decisions are being made on a young kid.
It's
potential.
Exactly, yeah. Because it's just like myself and Ronnie, we speak about these things all the time when it's players at United that are maybe getting their heads turned, young players to go down south. But like it's a short career. Like you'll know that yourself. Like if there's money on the table at this point, that doesn't mean to say it's necessarily going to be there in a year's time or whatever. So it's very hard to have a go at anybody that takes these deals. But as you say, the pressure that comes along with it. It must be unbelievable. When you're a kid, you just want to play because you love playing football. You're not worrying about somebody's mortgage getting paid off or mum getting a new car. You just want to kick a ball. No,
exactly.
Of course you don't.
Exactly. But I think now, even more so, and especially in Scotland, what I saw, at Dundee United and Motherwell, a lot of these kids are starting to realise that if they can go and get in the first team and they can play, and the advice is a lot better, then go and play 50, 100 games, they're going to end up in a better position by the time they're 21, 22 than going down at 15, 16. And I think that comes from agents' advice, parents seeing it, pathways that you're seeing Scottish players do. And I'm just going off Scotland, but pathways where Scottish players are going abroad and doing really well out there and then coming back in some way. I think you're seeing a lot of that, those steps. And it always takes one or two to do it, and then everyone goes, "That's what I'm going to do."
Yeah, that's the model that will follow.
Yeah, and I think obviously United were really good at bringing young players through. There was some top players that come to United, and same with Motherwell. The lad Lennon's coming through at the moment is special, and he's had a really good grounding from his family around him. Obviously, his dad played, which helped, but his family around him, and he's a clever kid. But he knows if he goes and plays 100 games like he has done for Motherwell, he's going to be in a better position than going down and playing nothing, because you do get stuck in the system. You do get stuck in the system down there. It's so many players. And it's literally which one's going to jump. And it's luck as well. It's a massive luck. It's injuries. It's all those sorts of things. So I think it is a very difficult position for these young lads to be in. But as long as they're getting the right advice, it's and they've got to be comfortable with their decision. They're putting themselves in a good position to have a career. And it's all about having a career, really,
Yeah. I could imagine they get a lot of, or some kids certainly will probably get a lot of pressure from their parents. Because if their parents get wind of this deal, I'm not going to have a mortgage. Like, I'm not going to have to worry about a job or a car.
Yeah.
Then their chances are they're probably going to want their kid to sign a deal that takes care of that.
You definitely probably see that. And again, it comes down to your environment that you are, and the advice that you're getting from people around you, the agent, the mum and dad, and all these sorts of things that you've got in your ear as a kid. And like you said, they just want to play football. They just want to enjoy themselves.
Yeah.
So it's difficult. It's a really difficult one. And some work out really well. Some go down at 14 and all of a sudden they're in the first team by 18. And then some go down and get lost, or some go into the system and get lost and end up going on that journey and trying to go back up the way. So it's a really difficult decision. But I've always sort of, and the stuff I've been doing has been like, look, it's you've got to have the right advice, and then it's down to the player and the family to make that decision.
Yeah, your own journey. From Denmark, you go back to England, and then you end up at United on trial under Jackie McNamara. How did that come about?
So like I said, there's a few stories coming up, but I'd come back to England from Denmark, and as much as I enjoyed my time there, a few moves didn't really come up that I wanted. I had a little sniff at Aalborg, which is like a big club in Denmark, and the manager had rung me and said, "Come watch a game. I really like you. I watched you at Urin. I was at this team Urin. I watched you there, and I like the look of you. Come to a game, watch us, and blah blah." And all these sort of things were like on the cusp of materialising, but nothing did. And my frustration was just like, I just like, what's going on? I'm not going to break it. So I come back to England. I had a bit of break, and I decided to use a different agent, and he started finding me sort of other opportunities, and I was meant to go in at like Luton and clubs like this that are in the league. And then a few of my mates, Kudos, who signed with me at Dundee United, another lad, Sam Cox, and a few other boys that I was with at Spurs, had signed for Hayes and Yedding. And Hayes and Yedding were in like the conference stuff. And again, I'd come back and I just wanted to play football. And I was like, I'm going to go in a trial somewhere, probably sit on the bench for 6 months, come in and out at the time, potentially. I might as well just go and play like loads of games and see where it gets to me by the time I'm 20, 21. So I went in at Hayes and Yedding, and it was great because it was like a group of us. The coach had come out at Spurs, a young guy had come out at Spurs, and there was 4 or 5 players that I knew really well. And it was just like being back at Spurs, really. We tried to do things really professional, tried to, work, as like we was, even though it was part-time. We tried to do things like go to the gym, and, that's probably where my main discipline comes from, was that time of, out of football, having to do it on your own. I was there for like 6 months, and then I actually, before I come to United on trial, I had a trial at Motherwell. So I went in at Motherwell. I went up there with a lad, Will Ekon. Will's now Nigerian captain, which is crazy. I had an unbelievable career, but me and Will went up there and played in a few games, and they said, "Yeah, we like you, but let's see what happens at the end of the season." This was like February time, March time. See what happens at the end of the season. We'll be in touch. In between this trial game came up, and I was like, "Trial game? Like, what is this all about?" And I'd never really heard of them before. I'd seen what it's about. It's like a showcase game. It was in Birmingham, and Kudos, like my best mate, he'd rang me and said, Carl, this is trial game. This agent's put this trial game together. I think there's going to be a few agents there and managers. Do you fancy doing it? I think it'd be good for us. Keep us fit. If anything comes from it, then great. I was like, okay, yeah, cool. So I drove up to Birmingham. It was at Birmingham's training game. Played centre half. I don't know how, but I scored a hat trick. I don't know what happened there.
As you do.
And then literally after the game, driving back, and the agent rings me that had set up this trial, and he says, Dundee United want to sign you. And I was like, what? And he's like, and they want to sign Kudos as well. And I was like, really? I was like, and I'll be honest with you, I was like, I didn't have a clue about Dundee United. I didn't have a clue about Scotland, really. I'd not even looked at the league and seen what was going on. And I was like, I'm doing it. Like, it just felt right straight away. Obviously, I was looking for an opportunity, which helped. And it's like, yeah, but he wants you there tomorrow. So I was like, okay. So I literally drove back to Essex, packed the car up, me and Kudos, and we was up the road the next day. I turned up at Tannadice and was like, and honestly, I'm not just saying this because I'm on this podcast, but I looked around the place and I was like, wow, like this is special. Like straight away, I had that sense of like, this is a big club. And I felt that literally walking through the door and going over to St Andrews, it's a beautiful part of the world, and I was just like, yeah, this is what I've been waiting for, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like that photo I sent you the other day.
Yeah, yeah. That's a golden one. That is. But yeah, I turned up and it was great. And Jackie, I still speak to Jackie now. Jackie was unbelievable to take that, a risk, to see me one game and sort of bring me up the road, but unbelievable for my career. And I always say to him when I see him, like, that really, really gave me an opportunity that I needed at the time, and I needed someone to sort of say, I really like you. I want you to come in. I want you to play.
It was quite the dressing room you walked into as well.
Yeah. A few
Nadir, Stretch,
No.
Gold, Payton, Rankin, Robertson, GMS. Gav gone in?
Yeah, Gav was there. That team was ridiculous. Yeah. And again, it's one of those moments you only see it now when you're talking about it, and you go, "What an unbelievable team to play in and train in, and just have that every day." So, ranks and pace, like top professionals you're learning from. I was still only 21, I was still a kid in my head, and to come up the road and have that around me, but also have a young group as well, was good for me. And Kudos has said the same. But yeah, it happened so quickly. I didn't really have a moment to think about it. Before I knew it, I was living in Scotland and playing.
Yeah. What was the first meeting with Jackie like then? Because I dare say you probably wouldn't have known he was watching the game, the trial game.
No, so Jackie had come down with Jacko, and they were both there. And then obviously when I arrived at the training ground, it was like Sid, Jackie, and obviously I'm on the phone. I'm like, Jackie McNamara. Oh my God, he's so legend. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You're like Sid and Jack, and then you're like researching all of the sort of the environment you're walking into, and you're going, wow, this is like pretty special. And so. And again, Jackie, his style of management was probably what I needed at the time. Was like, play free, enjoy it. Like we do this because we love it and we're lucky to do it. Like his philosophy at the time was perfect for me and perfect for United. Even though my first year was pretty difficult, and my first spell at United was, stop, start and difficult. I loved it. I love just being in that environment and having those sort of players around me every day.
Especially when you're walking in a dressing room that's got Nadir Chiefchi on one side and Gav Gunning on the other.
Yeah. Two proper guys. I touched base with Nadir a few months ago and had a little chat with him. But yeah, so where we lived in City Key, and Nads was on one side and me and Kudos was living on the other side. And Kudos is a character as well, right? I know he never got to see the best of him, but he was such a character. And boys, even when I come back up, still go, what's going on with Kieran? And some funny time. I remember one time we'd had to go for like a heart test down to Handon, and Nadir was the one that was driving us, and Nads was got in the car and he'd woken up and he was grumpy. He was in a And he's got in the car, and Kudos has got in, and I'm in the back. Kudos is in the front. He's like, turn the music up, like started blaring the music, and the dude's like, turn it down. Kudos like, relax, like all like being all show, relax, like we're having a bit of fun, man. With the boys, all this sort of stuff. Anyway, Nadier's gone. No. We got to Tesco's
Yes.
on the shop.
Yeah.
We literally got there. Nadir stops the car, middle of the road, gets out the car, and goes to open Kudus' door to drag him out. Kudus knocks the door, so he can't get in. So Nadir's on the door like this, trying to open it, and Q's like, "Nice one, mate." And I'm like, "This is going to end in tears." Do you know what I mean? So he's like, "Q, get the fuck up." He's like, "I'm not getting out of the car." So we're middle of the street. Cars are going past us, bibbing. I'm in the back trying to diffuse the situation, and he's locked him out of his car. So Nadir's now just walking around the car trying to get him. And then I was like, right, this is to calm down because we're never going to get there. We'd be late. We gets back in the car. I mean, literally no one spoke to each other the whole way there.
You only made it a mile down the road before it all
literally outside Tesco's before that roundabout. We spaced 10 minutes and he's just walking around his car. But yeah, like proper like Gav as well. Like Jesus.
MD needing to say in a dear Chief G, calm down. It's braver than MD. Like,
yeah. Me and again, like we was quite close, like, and I'd argue with Nadir. We had like some
John Rankin gave us a whole sheet of people that had argued, and that was only in pre-season. And every fell out with him. There was fights at Marbella. There was the lot.
Yeah, Marbella. What a trip that was! And that was another eye opener going up to Marbella with everyone and seeing that was brilliant. And yeah, just coming into that environment and having that squad, and it was a really close knit squad, and it just, you know, obviously that season was pretty special for United.
Yeah.
And I actually started the season off playing. I'd had a good pre-season. I'd come in and done all right, and you know, managed to start the first game passed away.
Mm-hmm. Were you lucky to stay on the park that night?
Yeah, you know,
that's my one memory from that game, because it wasn't the best game, but I always remember that butch tackle on that boy, crikey.
I know. Yeah, he wasn't happy with that, was he? But again, you got to try and step the stall out, and that was kind of how I wanted to approach it. And yeah, like I'd gone in and done well for pre-season. I had 2 or 3 games, and then I remember not travelling to Ross County. I wasn't well. And then John Suter went in and he was just flipping out that season. So it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I kind of knew that him and Gav had got a really good partnership going on. And, you know, I just didn't end up playing. Didn't end up playing for that season. Ended up getting an injury in the reserve game towards the end of that season. So I'd gone in on such a high and then had a really bad end to the season. And I was really frustrated again in my career. I was like, come here, had an opportunity and it's not panned out how I wanted it to, so it was back to the drawing board in that summer. And
I mean, you're jumping on. There's definitely one incident I need to bring up.
Definitely. When
you played against St Johnstone and Stevie May hit the deck like he'd been shot.
Yes.
Yeah. And then you were last man. Again, that didn't help.
Yeah, that didn't help me as well. Like, I think what had happened there was I'd been out of the team for like 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, you got back in, yeah.
Yeah, I got back in and I just remember the ball going over my shoulder and like, I remember him being sort of the other side of me and I've gone to put my arm on him. Just like, you know, and he's just
collapsed.
He's just gone. And then the referee was straight away and I was just like, and I'm literally, I think it's about 25, 30 minutes into the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct. And I just remember like, I'm not going to get back in for a while now. I remember just walking back to the change room, just being really disappointed.
Yeah. I watched it back this morning just because in my mind, like, and I probably not watched it for a few years, but I always thought that Sean Dillon's header was a little bit short, but it wasn't. Sean Dillon's header back to the keeper was fine, and I think you have literally just rested your hand on Stevie May's shoulder, and as Ronnie says, somebody has like pulled the rug from his feet.
Yeah, exactly. You know, about that time, Stevie was doing really well, and he just had that little bit of a nous, you know.
Certainly against us.
Yeah, at that time, I didn't have that nous where, like, put your arms on someone in the penalty box, you're going to go down. So you can't fault him for going to win the penalty. Obviously, VAR these days probably would have called it back and gone, not a penalty. But at the time, referees are giving that all day. So it was just another learning curve for me.
Was that a fractured foot? Is that what ruled you out for that season?
Yeah, I played in a reserve game at Tannadice and just cleared the ball and someone just come through me and fractured my foot. And yeah, that was frustrating. And I come back in that pre-season and I actually remember coming back into that pre-season and Jackie had taken my shirt number away from me. So I was number 4. I think he'd given it to Soapy, and I come back in the dressing room. I was like, that was my first sort of experience of like, right, what's going on here? What probably going to have to really like rethink what's going on here.
Yeah. What was it like watching the Scottish Cup run just before we get to that pre-season? Obviously, you're injured, and we get to the final where St Johnstone had our number, but frustrating.
Yeah, that was tough. That was really tough. Obviously, like I remember going to the Rangers game. That was a great day for United fans, and I remember being in the stands like, "God, I just really want to be playing here. And this is what it's all about. This is what you play football for. Full stadium, you know."
Only Nadir would do that for the goal.
Yeah. That's iconic, isn't it? Iconic that celebration before the tap-in. But yeah, like a great day for United fans, and gutted to not be a part of it, and seeing all the lads do so well. But it's football. It is what it is. I knew that I had to sort of focus on myself and get myself fit as quickly as possible.
And the thing is, you were kind of probably maybe slightly older, but Andy Robertson, Ryan Gold, John Souttar, and you just look at like how they just grabbed that season,
incredible. And they, so where we was at CQ, they lived opposite us.
We've heard stories of that flat.
Yeah, and they were just so down to earth, all of them. They loved playing football, and it just worked so well for them. Obviously, the environment was amazing for them to have that. Jackie, made a great environment for young players to come in and have the confidence to go and play. And they just took off. They took off. All of them that season was phenomenal. And obviously why they've gone on to have the careers they've had. But the environment was so important. Going back to what we was talking about earlier, having an environment for players to express themselves at a young age is one of the biggest things for players to come through. If you haven't got that environment in place, then it's going to struggle. You're going to struggle to bring players through and really express themselves and really feel comfortable in the first team. And all of them did. They all felt comfortable coming in. And it's back to basics. It's like, can you speak to people? Can you have a conversation with one of the first team lads? Do you feel embarrassed around them? Like all those sort of things, they really matter when young players are coming through into the team.
Yeah. And then you come in for pre-season, your shirt's gone. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I was angry. I was really angry. I was like, what the fuck's going on here?
So do you not get told about that before you actually see it? Does it just happen? You just go in there? I kind
of thought something was going to happen. I can't remember if something got put in a group chat or something that my shirt had been taken from me, but I can't really remember. But I just remember that moment coming in, and I was like, that's really pissed me off. But what can you do? Do you know what I mean? Still a young lad, not played loads of games, and what can you say? You just got to get your head down and sort of knuckle along with it. Didn't go into Jackie or say anything. Just kept my head down. But I kind of knew that Soapy and Gav were going to play, and I was playing 10.5 at the time. So I was like, I'm probably going to have to go on loan or look at going on loan. And I actually went to Falkirk, and Pete Houston was there, and he took me in to have a look at me, and I went there for 2 or 3 weeks. And then a conversation happened, and it was like, someone had pulled me and said, I think you should play centre mid. Like, never been the biggest, like height, but never saw it as an issue. But I sort of looked at it as like, I'm probably getting overseen a little bit here for my height and stuff like that. And it was like, I think you'd be a really good defensive midfielder, breaking up play, tough in the tackle, keeping it simple. I think you could have a career in there, and I never ever crossed my mind to do that. So I went back. I remember going back into Dundee United, and Jackie was like, "What's happened at Falkirk?" We had a discussion on the pitch. Like, what happened at Falkirk? I was like, "Yeah, I'm not going to go there, Jackie." I was like, "I want to play centre mid," and he was like, "All right, I've got." And he reeled it off. It was like Pates, Ranks, Stuart Armstrong, like. Goldie was playing there, like Ryan Dow was playing there. It was like all these midfielders, really good players. It's like I can't really see you playing, but if you want to come back and you want to trade, you've got years left in your contract. It's up to you. Like we'll take it from there. I won't, disregard you. You'll be with us all the time. I'll treat you properly, but I'm telling you this is the situation. I was like, okay, fine. And I just literally got my head down for 2 or 3 months, playing centre mid. And in training, I took training like it was a game. I was just totally fixated of getting into the first team. and playing more games at Dundee United. I don't want to go somewhere else. I want to stick here. Every time I'd got to a point where I felt like I wasn't getting anywhere, I'd try and move, or I'd try and push myself into a different situation or a different opportunity. And I thought, if I stay here and I knuckle down for 2 or 3 months, let's see what happens. And then I think got to November time, or just before Christmas, and Jackie pulled me aside and he was like, Butcher, watch the train, watch how you've like adapted to playing centre mid. And he's like, I can't not play you. I think I've been doing so well in training that I've got to get you in the team. And I think we'd had a few injuries and a few things that happened, but he was like, look, I think you've got to play. And I come back into the team. I think my first game back was against St Mirren at home. And sort of then it just sort of kind of start to fall in place a little bit more for me, playing a little bit higher at the pitch. And I went in and really enjoyed it. By the end of that season, I was playing pretty much every game, and we go on that cup run and get to the final of the League Cup. And the week before, Jackie's pulling me and saying, "I'm resting you for the final. But I need your energy. I need your energy." And it's like how quickly football can change.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm talking about. It's like you've got to find a way to stay in it as long as possible, because you don't know what opportunities are going to come up.
Yeah.
So that ended up happening, and I ended up finishing the season off well.
Yeah, well, the St Mirren game, you played against Jim Goodwin, the current United manager, that day. Both of you in midfield, that'd be tasty.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think at the time I was like, I'd always like been tough tackling, but that wasn't really me fully what I was at the time. I was still working out. I played a little bit higher forward that game. I think he played Ranks and Pates, or one of the two, and I played a little bit higher forward, and was more like a presser, like a higher forward presser, winning the ball back higher at the pitch. And that wasn't really my game. I hadn't found that sort of path I wanted, how I was going to play. But
we'll get to that. There's a few.
At that point, I was like, I've found that position I think I can do well in. I just got to work out where I sort of fit myself into my career.
It worked that day because we won 3-0, I believe.
Yeah,
against
it was a good result. Yeah, I think Jim was that the old
probably sent off. Yeah,
probably
he was booked certainly.
Yeah.
He had previous
to say about it now, though. Yeah.
We'll
still bring it up.
Yeah,
we'll still bring it up.
Yeah, if he's ever brave enough to sit where you're sitting, then we will definitely mention it to him. Yeah,
I know in the same room.
Obviously not.
New Year's Day, 2015, Dundee Derby. No a bad way to bring in the new year, a 6-2 victory.
Yeah, unbelievable. And that was my first taste of the derby. Obviously, full stadium. And you'd seen and heard things about the game. And I don't know if I'd been on the bench or out the squad in one of the first ones in the start of the season, but that was obviously my first start, my first game, and it's unbelievable. And then that game was just, those derby games have just always stuck with me. Like, it was like, and when I went back, it was like that the start of the season when that game came out, I was like, right, that's the game. I just become like a bit fixated on those games. And obviously you want to play well in every game, but I always knew that meant a little bit more to the city and the build up. And it's special. It's so special with obviously being so close, and I just know what it meant to the club. And I loved playing in the derby games. I wish I could play in the derby game every week because that was what I wanted to do.
Did you ever get any stick out and about the streets of Dundee from the opposition punters?
No, not. I probably would have said to it back if I did, but not a lot. No, not a lot. I always felt quite.
That doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me in the slightest. Nobody wants sliding tackle down the high street, do they?
Yeah, I know. I know. Yeah, but no, I always had, respect for walking around. There wasn't really any issues,
Yeah.
And I think that's what's great about the derby, though. There are a few, but it's very, people talk and they sit and talk about the derby, and it's not that massive. Obviously, there's underlining hatred, but it's not right in your face. And I think that's what makes it so special as well, that you can walk out of the stadium and all of a sudden everyone's in the pub and everyone's talking about what's just happened. And just like amazing memories playing in that.
Yeah, he came off for Charlie Telfer and he went and scored number 6, which is synonymous with him. And he could live off that for his days, for I care.
He certainly could if he moved to Dundee. Yeah,
it was good. It was a top day, and that season we had some great results, beating Celtic at home, going on the cup run. Obviously, it's a bit crazy to.
I mean that year. I mean, we've spoke about this year a lot of times with a lot of your ex-teammates, and it's getting your kind of views on it. And obviously there's 2 months that are crazy. I mean, that January month we started with a 6-2 win. We then win in the semi-final at Hampden against Aberdeen, which we spoke to Callum Morris and he was over the moon. He gets his goal, he gets on the scoreboard, and then like everyone the next day Armstrong and GMS go to Celtic. Highs and lows.
And it was I kind of like at the time, me personally, was more, I need to play games. I need to focus on myself. So from a selfish point of view, it was like, I just want to play. So whatever was going on in the team, I didn't really think about at the time. Looking back, it obviously had a huge effect on the rest of the season and how we sort of finished the season off. And it was such a shame to break that up with what was going on. And obviously, the circumstances of it and how it was dealt with and then leaving in that manner was really disappointing for the team and the club. And I'd love to have seen that season out and really seen what had happened. And I think that's always going to be like the question, isn't it? If we'd have managed to do that and the club had managed to hold on to Gaz and Stu, what would have happened,
Yeah, certainly from the fans' point of view. Like, I totally get your take that you were like not selfish, but purely focusing on your own position. But as fans, it was a tough one to take.
Of course, yeah. And again, like, going back to that, the selfish wasn't because it was selfish. It was like, I just want to play. Do you know what I mean? So like, whatever's going on, you just got to, you. And I think a lot of players are like that. But I think the players that had been there the season before and kind of went and played the whole way through, which I didn't, kind of realised the impact that was going to have on the team, and it did. It had a massive impact. We went from playing and getting some really good results to then having a really difficult end to the season. And I felt and again now, and probably as I got older, I felt for Jackie and the staff that the cards they'd been dealt.
Yeah, there seemed to be a little bit of disharmony between the managers, the coaches, and like the tip of the spear at the club at that time, I suppose. But we'll move on from that. The Mad March. Like, give me your take on how you and Virgil van Dijk having a coming together results in our mate Paul Payton walking for an early bath.
I don't know what happened. Honestly, I just remember playing 50-50 tackle and the ball bounced, sort of just gone in for it. And then all of a sudden he's sending off Pates, and I'm like,
yeah.
And I can't. It's one of them. You go, you like that, but you're holding your hand. Like, it wasn't no. And then Pates is looking at me, and I'm looking at him, and he's like, "Are you gonna say anything?" And I'm like, "No, I don't know. Should I say something? Or like, what's going on here?" Like, I didn't get what's going on, so I didn't. And obviously he gets sent off, and then it was then the build up to the final.
Yeah,
and all of that sort of stuff was going on, and I did. Pates obviously got.
I think he got off with it, did he not?
Yeah, he got off. He got off. Yeah, so it ended up being better because I think one of us would have missed regardless, and I think because it was their fault and they made a mistake, they sort of took it all away.
Yeah,
which didn't help us because then Van Dijk played as well. So that was obviously difficult.
But, he was alright. He's not a bad player.
Yeah. Did you enjoy coming up against like a Scott Brown? Like, because obviously, like, I've met him in real life, and when he used to play football, I don't know. Like,
in real life, is this no real life?
In real life, I've met him, like, and he's not that big. He isn't that big. But when he was on that park, like, he would have you believe that he was 7 foot tall, and he was he was really physical. But
at that age when I played him, and my first experience with him was like, you sort of saw straight away what he brought to the game, and it wasn't even he. Again, I think something that players that play with a bit of aggression, they people forget that they're good footballers, and he was a very, very good footballer, and people forget that. Everyone just is and just says, "Oh, stop Brown, a tough he is," but he was a good footballer. Do you know what I mean? He done things really well, really clever. Knew the dark arts, but could also play, and obviously why he had the career he had. But yeah, like whenever you went up against the big boys, that you always sort of enjoyed those moments and those big games. And yeah, at that time Celtic had some top players as well, and to go and beat them, it was just disappointing that we then had that run of 2 or 3 games on the bounce, and it was tough. It was tough for the team, and I remember we should beat them, didn't we? Then we went to Celtic Park on Tuesday night or Wednesday night, and I don't think we touched the ball. And
No,
it was one of those moments. It was like one of them moments when you sit there and you go, "Yeah, that was a bit of a revenge." It was kind of like you've disrespected us, and we're now going to show you what we're all about. And it was demoralising going into the final after that.
Yeah, the final was poor as well. Big nads, well missed. Sean Dillon sent off. It just wasn't up to much.
Nothing just went our way that game. Nothing went our way, and you've got to have a bit of luck when you go up against Celtic or whoever.
I'm sure Dillo was off the park when they got the first.
He'd come off.
Yeah, he had a really bad injury on his
shin. He does get a bad injury on his shin, but like it took 8 and I think
7 minutes.
We're going to make the sub, and then it must have been he was cutting. It was for 7 minutes. You're playing with 10 men, but it's not hard enough already.
No.
And then he got sent off.
Yeah, he did get sent.
He then gets sent off.
Terrible.
Nicest man in football, red card. Oh well.
I remember that. I remember that as well. That moment when he was off the pitch and then they go and score, and then it's one of them. But once you go 1-0 down,
it's very hard.
It's difficult to get back into the game, and we kind of knew we had to take him a little bit longer after having those 3 games on the bounce. It's different when you're going into that game. We didn't have a massive squad, and all those sorts of things come into play. It was tough.
You were on the bench as Nadir signed off his United career, and typical big Nads performance, 2 goals in a derby. Special player for us over the 2 seasons, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was, and again, a massive character, and
a crazy driver. It seems,
and a crazy driver, yeah, and a few other stories there. But he was good character. Again, came in the same time as me on trial. His United career didn't start off like all guns blazing, but as soon as he got into the team, and again, Jackie was so good at giving players opportunities and confidence to express themselves that when he got in the team, he just flowed for him. And I know speaking to him when I had the opportunity to speak to him and how much he loved his time there. And I think there was even talk when I came back of him coming back in and that the club were trying to sort of do something. And I know he would have loved to have done that, but it just obviously didn't happen.
Yeah, I think he offered his services a couple of times. Certainly that's what he told us when we spoke to him. Yeah. But I don't want to belabor the point about Nadir Shifsi and his driving. But when we spoke to him, he told us before a game against St Mirren that he actually crashed his car. Were you in the car, or did he crash into your car? Or
yeah, so
Rado was involved.
Was Rado involved?
Aye.
Yeah, so we'd stayed in Carnoustie. Would have been staying in Carnoustie. That'd be right, one of the hotels down there.
Mm-hmm.
And we was going to the game, and I think at this time I wasn't think I was playing. I think I was like out of the squad, not in the squad, and all that sort of period. And Maguire was in my car in the front seat, and Nads was with Rado in front of me, and he had like this long Mercedes, bloody like granddad car, and I was driving behind him, and it was like a slip, so he'd gone to slip off, and he just braked. There was no car coming. He just broke, and I was like, but didn't put his indicator on. I've obviously looked down, looked up, just gone straight into the back of him. But Maguire didn't have his seatbelt on, right? So Maguire's like ended up smashing his head off the windscreen. Come back, and he's just looked at me like in a daze, and I'm like, oh shit, what happened there? The car's completely wrecked. Nad's car's like the back of it's gone. Brado gets out of the car. He's like, "What the fuck? What the fuck all this?" I'm like, honestly, I didn't even know what was going on. Pretty chilled out about it afterwards. We were laughing, but for like those 30 seconds, it was a bit serious. And I was like, Maguire, you're right. And Maguire was thankfully okay, and everyone was fine. But we was late for the game.
Yeah, he scored the winner.
Yeah, and then Nadge turns up and scored, and I was like that. Please have a good game. Please don't mess this up. This has got to come out good. And we can laugh about it now, but obviously it was a serious
What a man. At the end of that season, you decided to leave. You were offered a contract, couldn't agree terms, whatever else in the paper. What happened?
Again, obviously finished the season off quite well. Jackie called me and said, look, we want you to stay. We'll put you in line with, what was going on at the club, and we want to work with you for the next 2 years. I think I was 22 at the time. So still right at the start, really of my journey. And I remember just going back and forth, and I was just like, this is again, going into things, I just felt a bit disrespected with the offer. I felt like it wasn't what I knew, kind of what everyone else was doing and their sort of contracts, and I felt it disrespected them. And I'm thinking what happened, with the previous chairman and things like that. And I just like, I don't feel wanted from that side of it. As much as Jackie said he wanted me, I think ultimately it goes over to the club, and then you see what gets put in front of you. And if you don't feel it's in line with what you deserve, then you have to look at other options. And that's kind of what happened. And out of the blue, I got a phone from Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank at Burton, and he just said, I've seen you played one season. I like you as a player. Like, do you fancy it? And I was like, Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, do you know what I mean? It's another opportunity. And we had a good discussion. I spoke to Jackie about it, and he said, look, I think that'd be really good for you personally, back down south, playing in League One. I think that's gradually a step. And again, a lot of players then moved on to Burton. It was kind of like a bit of a club where they looked at the Scottish League, and they looked at a few of the players. And I went down there and yeah, I had a really good year.
Did Nigel Clough play as a striker?
Yeah, so I went in for pre-season, and I'll tell you what, Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank's training was on a different level of tough. Like, he would try and break you with running, and he was a hard manager to play for. And we kind of went in, and they just got promoted from League Two, so it was the first season in League One. Like, I don't think at the time Burton had ever played in League One. It was always, a lower league side, non-league side, worked their way up. And I actually remember the captain coming in, and we was doing the bonuses for the year, and he was like, we've got this bonus for us boys, and if we go up, this, but I ain't gonna happen. Like, let's just stay in the league and let's have a good season, and we'll go from there. But like, we're not going to get promoted. Anyway, we started the season on fire. We was beating everyone. We didn't lose a game until like, I think early December. So we're like second in the league, top of the league. And then Jimmy leaves. Jimmy ended up getting an opportunity to go to QPR Championship, moves on, and Nigel Clough comes in.
Mm-hmm.
What a character he was. He was another like unbelievable manager to play for. Just so old school, but just so good at working with people and how he spoke to you. And he was, he was looking back, like, he was so different from what I'd ever had, but he was brilliant with me, and we had a good relationship. But yeah, he played me up front. So I played like a bit of a higher role at an Albion of like an 8, like box to box midfielder. Obviously a lot younger, like, enthusiasm, running in the box, tackling. And he always used to say to me, like, your finishing's really good. You're a really good finisher. We do shooting at the end of practice, and I'd always like, but good finishing. Like, something you never got to see at United.
Couple of times.
And in that season, I'd actually scored 5 or 6 goals from midfield. So he was like, I like you in that position. And I actually played against Liverpool in the EFL Cup at the time as a striker, which is mental, which is absolutely mental to think of. But I did. That happened. And, again, that's probably one of the reasons why I moved, because Nigel, that season we got promoted into the Championship, and he sort of said to me, I really see you as a striker. and I think I can make you into a striker. 24, I was 24 at the time, 25. He said, no, I think I can make you a good striker. You know, and I was like, really? It was like, really confused. Like, is that really what's happening here? But again, I've always been one of them. Like, if I'm in the team and I'm playing, you'll get 100%. It doesn't matter where I play. I'll give you all I've got. And but I did know that that's probably not where I was going to play, and I was going to find it difficult. And they were bringing in loads of players, and I kind of looked at another opportunity and moved on.
Yeah, you went to Millwall, Mansfield, you had your loan spells as well, and then your return back up the road. January 2019 under Robbie Neilson. How did that return come about?
Yeah, so like after Burn, I went to Millwall for a year, had a year there, got promoted again, which is another great achievement. And then the Mansfield one came up, ended up going there, and I hated it. I absolutely hated it. From the moment I walked in the door, I knew straight away I'd made a bad decision. Just one of them moments where you sit there and you go, Steve Evans was manager at the time and sold me the dream, and it wasn't the dream. And I did do my research. I wasn't stupid going into it. I'd spoken to a lot of people. I'd had a lot of conversations, and yeah, just didn't enjoy it at all. I'd signed a good 2-year contract there, and I kind of knew I had to get on with it and get my head down, but it just never worked for me. Never worked for me. So yeah, a total random one out of the blue. Literally last day of the window in January 2019, get a phone call to say, do you fancy going back to Dundee United? And literally made my decision within 30 seconds. I was like, yeah. I felt like I had unfinished business. I felt like, obviously, the year I'd left, the club then got relegated. The following season, it just felt right to do it. It felt right to come back. I knew obviously after having a difficult spell at Mansfield, I knew I could go somewhere which I knew I was comfortable going back to. I knew the environment I was going into. I knew the town, and I just felt that it would be a good opportunity to go and do. And there was at the time, obviously a real rebuild of the club. I literally had a 30-second conversation with Robbie, and he was like, come back up the road, we'll want to get promoted. That's literally how he spoke to me. It's like, we're going to get promoted.
Busiest January known to man.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, it's just like, it's boom, 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 people just like, it was just like flying in. Everyone was just flying in, and you're in the dressing room having a medical, and there's another person walking through the door, and he's like, right, mate. And it was mad, but it's what the club needed at the time. It needed, a bit of investment, a bit of a push.
It needed better players.
Yeah, I needed some players to come in and really like accelerate the club. Dundee United should never be in a championship, ever. And look, Scotland is a difficult, Premiership is a difficult league, and things can happen, and you can find yourself in championship. A lot of big clubs do, but it shouldn't happen, and definitely not be there for 2-3 seasons, which it end up being. But yeah, come back in and we sort of hit the ground running, really. They come in and sort of said, right, this is what we're doing. This is how we're going to play. Obviously, literally the whole squad changed, which was difficult at the time because you're coming into a dressing room, there's 11 boys that are playing, and all of a sudden there's 11 boys coming in and they're playing. So that was hard. But I think boys knew what was going on. A lot of them knew. And yeah, we just sort of hit the ground running, and we ended up, I don't think we lost a game that season.
We'd been told there was that many players, and needed 2 dressing rooms. It was that, there was that many boys in there.
It was like 24, 25 lads in a dressing room, and it was just like, it was crazy, really, to think about it, and quickly we gelled, like, as a team on the pitch. The results, literally, the first game was Queen of the South at home, I think we won 3-0, 2-0, something like that. We battered them, and I think the league kind of saw, right, they're not messing around now. They're going to go for it.
Yeah, it was the big change as well, because Reynolds told us, he says, like, he was made captain. Like, just in the door, and he was like made captain. I was like,
Reynolds came in, it was just like, armband. Do you know what I mean? It was just like, and Robbie is ruthless. That is his nature, and that's how he does things. He's ruthless, and he'll tell you what it is. I prefer it that way because it's honesty. If you're not going to play, you're not going to play, and he'll never tell you and he's shit, he'll just say that's the way it is.
Yeah.
I think that's why he worked so quickly. Why that worked so quickly. He wasn't telling boys that you might play in this. He was literally going, "Not going to play. Not going to play." And that the clarity through the club helped us sort of push forward. You know.
When you were talking about people flying in from all over the place, did you fly in with Mark Connolly to sign? Was he on the same flight that day?
Yeah, so I didn't know Mark at all. Ended up, I think I flew from City Airport, and then I was like looking around, they sat down, and then I'm like, I really recognise him. I don't know where I recognise him from, but I really recognise. And then we get off the plane, and he's getting his suitcase, and he's looking at me, and I'm looking at him, and it's sort of like, yeah, I do know him from somewhere. And then Robbie sort of pulled up and gets out the car, and he's like, "Right, lads," and just walks. It was like just shook each other's hand, shook Robbie's hand, and that was it. So I was in the car and he was away. So yeah, like mad things like that. And but again, it helped me to settle really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes when you're going into a dressing room and there's like 10, you're going in on your own. But when there's so many boys coming in at once, everyone's just got on with it and just knuckled down.
What had changed? Again, what had changed since the previous time that you were at the club then? Like, because Mark Reynolds wouldn't have noticed what changed, but you would have noticed.
Yeah. I wouldn't. I wouldn't say I could put a finger on what. Obviously the time that I'd left was that difficult period with the chairman and things that had gone on, and obviously players getting sold and all that stuff about Jackie's contract and all those sort of things had happened as I'd left. Which I didn't think was right, but it happened, and I didn't really notice a massive. Obviously, some of the staff were still there, like Bo was still there, and there's a lot of legend, like absolute legend. Bo was still there, and all these, and we're still at St Andrews, and not much has changed. Literally, just the fact that they were then playing in the Championship, and there was a big overhaul of players.
How did you find the Championship compared to what you had previously experienced?
I think it was a tough league. Like anyone could beat anyone on the day. I think obviously being a bigger club in the league, as United was, it was everyone's cup final, and that's something you have to deal with when you're playing in a league below. Like everyone was coming to Tannadice and going, "No, we're going to beat these today." And I think that's probably what the club had struggled with for a long period before the big change had happened. Was teams were coming and getting results because they weren't ready for what was coming. And the Championship again, might get disrespected a little bit, but it's a good league. It's some good players in that league, and it's some, especially when I was playing it, some good clubs, and it's difficult to get out of. Only one going up automatically, and then you've got the whole playoff system. It's a bit crazy, really, to think. But I did enjoy it. That season was good for me to go and play games. After the Manfield, just to go in and just play, and just get my head down was exactly what I needed at that time.
And you got to play in the playoffs at the end of that season as well, when we got past Inverness, and then we came up against St Mirren in the playoff final, obviously. Do you think it was a blessing in disguise not going up that season? Because I can remember being extremely disappointed leaving the stadium that day, but it probably was a blessing in disguise from a fan's point of view anyway.
Yeah. I'd gone up to, we'd gone on that run, and we were so close to going up automatically. It was like, I think we'd gone to Ross County, and it was that draw when they scored in the last minute.
Yes.
It was the 1-1.
Yep.
And I think if we'd have gone and beaten them then, I think it would have been a nail in the coffin to really like push on and push past them. I think there's 4 or 5 games towards the end of the season. We come into the dressing room knowing, not giving up, but knowing, right, we're going to be in the playoffs. This is how we're going to have to do it. So I remember that moment. But yeah, I'd actually finished the season with a really bad groin injury. So I'd gone up to Inverness, played, and literally the last 10 minutes of the game pulled my groin, and I was like, oh my, like I'm going to a massive game, and I'm not right. So I missed the first leg. Managed to get, as there was a 2 or 3 week sort of break in between, managed to get myself fit for St Mirren away. And yeah, I think at the time it was probably a blessing in disguise, like you said. I think it was a blessing in disguise. As well as he'd done, I don't think we was ready as a club to go up, and I think we needed that full season in the Championship together to really like kick on and make sure that we went up in the right way.
How was Robbie Nielsen pre-season?
Yeah, Robbie was tough as well. He was up there, probably surpassed Jimmy. He was tough. He had like a gaffer's day, didn't he? So he just made it up on the spot. And I didn't enjoy running. I'm not gonna lie to you, I hated it. But we had, even though I wasn't like, he'd do like 1Ks and all these, like, he'd just make them up. Like, he'd be like, that's not even a thing. Do you know what I mean? But like, this gaffer's day I remember just going down to the bottom field, like in the university, and he was just like all these cones set up, and it was just like, right, lads, this is gaffer's day, and it was the first time we had it. It was like, this is gaffer's day, just don't give up. That's what he said. And we was like, right, so what's going on then? And I was a bit of a moaner when it comes to rowing. I'd always like be like, why are we doing this? And probably not to Robbie, because he'd probably tell me where to go, but to like the full science, I'd be like, this is bollocks. Like, you don't even know what's going on there. Like, you're meant to have you're meant to see what we're doing. Oh, someone's gonna get injured. I was like the one that was always say something. And to be fair, Reynolds was as well. And yeah, he just did his gaffer's day, and he's tough priest. And it felt like it went on forever. He'd have us in like 2 weeks earlier than any other club, and he had this, and he's right. And probably with the Championship, because he's been really successful in that league, he always knew that if you started the season well, that was half the battle, because if you get so far ahead, no matter what happens after January, into those months, when the pitches are good and you're playing at home and all these, and the crowds are up and all that stuff, if you'll get a 10-15 point lead, you're going to be in a good position come the end of the season. So that's kind of how we attacked it. And looking back, he was right, but I do think after, these conversations that were had after, January, February, boys are knackered, man. Boys are like,
yeah, well, Reynolds said that. He ended up saying to him, look, you're going to need to, like, the manager's going to, you need to take your foot off the accelerator.
He didn't care. You could say it to him. He just like, I don't care. He just like, he had this word, relentless.
Yeah.
Just say relentless.
Yeah.
That's what he kept on saying. He just said relentless.
Yeah, seemingly Reynolds told us I think it was maybe we're getting ahead, but for the next season he was trying to get these buzzwords that he wanted, and relentless was one of them, and Reynolds was negotiating. He was like, no.
Reynolds is probably the worst person to say it to, because Reynolds is a really intelligent guy, and Reynolds would want to test him in like a diplomatic, intelligent way, and Robbie would just be like relentless. Like, he just wouldn't even come into the comment. He'd just be like relentless, and Reynolds would be like, no, that's not. You bet relentless. And then we was in a castle, and you get in the car, and you just be like, I can't deal. He's telling me relentless all the time. I don't want to hear relentless. But yeah, we was really fit squad, and that really helped in the Championship as well, being the fittest team, and it was just a shame how that season finished with COVID, that we never got to celebrate with the fans after all that hard work that had gone into it. Honestly, that was a really difficult time for everybody, but that was really tough not to have that moment.
I mean, we obviously set our stall out. That was like, we're going to win it, and as a confidence booster, we're just bringing along Shankland.
Yeah,
it's not bad, is it?
Yeah. When Shanks come in, it was just like, this is Shanks was top for me. Like, really, really good, and his first game against Inverness, like at home, just that was it.
Brilliant.
That was after his Fife had beat us, though.
Yeah.
And the cup, we were all like,
we was never really good in that cup, was we?
No. Nothing's really changed.
Yeah. But when Shanks came in, and we had the squad that the season before, that was kind of like the icing on the cake. Even though I think Pav had done really well.
Yeah.
To come and bring in someone like Shaq, who knew the league and had scored goals and was prolific as him.
He puts a marker down. I mean, beating Inverness, who were going to be Bookie's favourite, would have them up there, and then you go and like kind of ragdoll them with that. It was a brilliant start to the season.
Were you?
It's kind of how Robbie was. Robbie was like that.
Were you part of the leadership group at that point? Because I know that when there was 4 years, is that right? Was it yourself, Reynolds, Connolly, and
yeah, so Robbie was like big on like leadership groups and having like a, 3 or 4 players in the dressing room that kind of policed it a little bit on don't do this and fines and like quite strict on these sorts of things, which was good for us. And it was me, Reynolds, and Mark Connolly.
Right. Okay.
I think Pete was involved at some point.
Oh, Connolly. Jeezy, peeps. I mean, you heard him, eh? You'd heard Connolly. Mind when he used to do that wee jump around, raging at a goal that he'd caused, but would blame somebody else? I always loved that. I would never tell him that to his face, but...
Me and Conz had a really bad argument in the dressing room after the game. Really bad. Had to get separated.
Tell us more. Talk to us.
The year after. We'll probably get onto that. Let's finish this off. And we'll get onto that. But Robbie was very like
relentless.
I'm going to start relentless. We're going to start the season well. We're going to kick on, and that kind of like that happened straight away, and we run away with it. Like, but, crazy enough, he's still sitting there after games, and we was like 12 points clear, and we were like, no, they could still catch us because that league was like that. That Inverness could go on like 6 or 7, game without losing. And then all of a sudden they're 3 points, and it was like that. And then obviously COVID happened, and it was just it was really sad. Obviously, how that sort of ended, because it would have been amazing after all of that to have had those celebrations. And obviously last year when United get promoted and to see all the fans in the in the streets and
that was class
and all that, it's like that really hurt me to not be able to have that moment with the United fans after.
Yeah. For everybody, I could assure you.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so, that was difficult for everybody.
You played in 1 6-2. Did you ever think you'd play in 2 6-2 victories against that wee team up the road?
No, I didn't.
And a Calum Butcher double.
Yeah, I didn't. And that came around quickly. And again, through pre-season, that was like Robbie was like, Derby, going to set us all out, Derby. And I've got to mention Gordy and Lee McCulloch as well. They were brilliant, brilliant around the place. Like Gordy was top, and I still speak to Gordy a lot now, and so was Lee. And that I think them coming in as well, and with Robbie, it just worked so well, and it's exactly what was needed at the time. So obviously we were targeting, the Derby game, and we looked at it as Dundee was going to be our biggest rivals in the league, and again, like you said, set a stall out, and that was a mental game, and just so many good memories of that game. Obviously, the score was special, and to get 2 goals was special, but just to play in those games with that atmosphere and know what it meant, and they were just so good for me. I just like I said, I wish I could play the Derby every Saturday, because I'd do that for the rest of my life.
Callum Butcher up like a salmon.
Yes. Yeah.
And it was the big thing was as well, Connolly went off injured really early in that game. Ian Hart's come on for him, and you're kind of going, well, how does that affect things? And well, it didn't.
Well, you went to the back that day then, didn't you?
I went back to centre half, centre half. And I remember it was 6-1, and I was on a hat trick. Never heard that before. I was on a hat trick, and Robbie, I look over the bench, and I'm like, do I? It was 6-1, and it was like 10 minutes to go. I was like, do I go up and am I going to go? He was like, and then Robbie was like, go and get your hat trick, like that. And I was like, jumped out, and I'm walking into the box, going, I'm on a hat trick. I've got to get my head on this. Ball comes in. I remember it. Ball comes in, and I head it towards goal. And I'm like, that's going in. And the referee calls a foul, and I'm like, ah. And the keeper catches the ball, but yeah, she was scored a hat trick. But I'll take 2.
Yeah. The next derby at Dens was in November, and Callum Butcher set the tone with a yellow card after about 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, it's one of them. It's like you're riled up for the game. You know what it means. I've always played the game as you go into the game at the start, and you set the tone, and it just so happened to be that moment, and a lot of people say to me, like, especially United fans, like, you love to tackle, and they're always in the referees, but I played a lot of my games on yellow cards. I used to get, and I probably was better when I had a yellow card, because it calmed me down a little bit. I then knew I couldn't do certain things. So to get that after 2 minutes probably settled me down in the game,
I mean, it didn't settle us.
Yeah, of course. But I played probably. I was more calm or calmer as I had a yellow card because it's you know you're going into the game with that magnitude and you know what it means. You are obviously rolled up a little bit more, and it's I remember the challenge as well, and it was just one of them. It was like probably probably would go now with VAR, and I hate VAR, but
yeah, we all do.
Oh, you'd have went for that. 100%.
That's what I mean. I probably would, and I think that's just what's ruined it all for everybody.
Yeah,
because that just ruins the game straight away. Imagine you go and get sent off then. And
yeah.
But I remember Robbie always before a game, he'd rile me up a little bit. He'd say something to me. He'd go individually with his laptop, and and not just his details unbelievable. So he'd go to every player before a game, and he'd get the laptop out, and he'd sit with you, and he'd go, right, this, and this, and he'd go, and he'd always go to me before the game. He'd just go one player and just go, now him. First minute, now him. And I'd have it in my head, and I'm going, I'm going to now then. and the one was it would happen. I'd be like, look, and he'd just go like, he'd just be like, thumbs up, like, acknowledgement, like I've done it. But yeah, it's like again, the derbies were so special, and to have, I've always had good memories of the derbies. So,
Shanklin scores a second in that celebration. That was class.
Yeah, that picture of him running across in the sun was going crazy. Yeah, it was special. Special.
Did you prefer them at Tannadice or at Dens?
Paul's got a weird perverted thing about the derby just now. I'm not sure what it is.
Love derbies.
Love them. As a fan, I used to, but now I kind of hate them. I hate the whole atmosphere thing.
Love them. Best game to win.
Yeah, I do like going to the Dens though. I do prefer a derby at Dens. I don't know why.
I think when you go anywhere away from home and you get a win, it's special, and obviously to do it at Dens is even more so.
After walking up the road.
Yeah, after walking up the road, which is crazy as well. But after probably winning there would be more special for me. But then going back to that 6-2 and scoring 2 goals in the derby, it's hard to say not being Tannadice.
Yeah.
We're playing a park. I ain't bothered as long as you win. So, I mean,
correct. Yeah, there's no bad place to beat Dundee.
No.
Exactly. But yeah, always good memories, and that was a really enjoyable season.
Yeah. We played Hibs in the Scottish Cup as well and gave them a bit of a run for the money. Kind of showed maybe a level we were playing at there because they were a well-established Premiership team.
Yeah, we drew at home, didn't we?
2-2.
We lost. But yeah, it's kind of always that thing, like you'd said. Was we ready the year before? Probably not, and we probably needed that, build up to going back into the Prem, and playing against teams was a good marker for that. Like, this is where we are, and this is probably what we need to bring in or what we need to do when we step up. And it was just a good, enjoyable season. Really, one of the seasons that sticks out in my mind of being really, really enjoyable.
And COVID came, and Robbie thought you'd be back in training in 2 weeks. That's what we're led to believe.
Yeah, I remember putting this in the dressing room, and just be like, so there's this cold going around, and this is how we just approached everything. It was just like this cold going around, and yes, what's the date? The 13th. We'll probably be back on the 20th. So everyone just go home, keep running. So we're going to be relentless. We're going to keep running and just be ready to come back in. And I tell you what, the program we had was incredible. We was running every day. We was doing something every day.
Yeah.
And he'd ring me up every Friday. Every Friday he'd ring me up. How's your week been? And I'd be like, I've not stopped running for like the whole week. Like, what's going on? Like,
how did they monitor that though? How did they monitor that?
We had a Strava. We just had like a Strava, the app Strava.
Right,
send it in. I'd send it every day. You couldn't you couldn't like.
Can I stick on the dog and get the dog to run?
If some boys were going on the bike, I weren't stupid. Just like, came in and going, you can't run that. Like, you're doing that in 4 minutes. Nothing chance. But yeah, crazy time to go through. Obviously, and yeah, like it was just so like final, wasn't it? So playing life's normal, and then it's just like bam, and then those 2 or 3 months were difficult, and they celebrate. Like, I remember just celebrating in my front room with my kids. We just had that the music. I was like, this is mad.
Yeah. This is a bit less. This is more casual, this Zoom call, than what we've heard happened on the title winning Zoom call.
Yeah.
That was a bit crazy. But yeah, I just remember that the day when they sort of said, and we didn't know what was going on. No one knew if he was going to play, if he wasn't going to play, like how, even if he was going to go up. They didn't know if they was going to even give it to us.
Yeah.
So there was loads of like, what's going on, and and loads of things happened. People losing their jobs, and it was a really uncertain time for everybody, and it was just really strange to go from obviously life to what we was going through then, and everyone just went like, this is how it's going to be.
That summer, it would obviously bring uncertainty and turmoil as Robbie ran away to the club that were trying to take us to court to stop us from going up. Did you think it was a wind-up when you first heard that Nielsen was gone?
Yeah, so Robbie actually rang me. I had a really good relationship with Robbie. I'll still speak to Robbie. We had a good relationship, and he'd rung me and said, he was ringing me every Friday, and same thing, to ring me on a Friday as normal. How's your week been? Yeah, good, it's all good. He's like, I just want to let you know, like, before I let you know when, we was close, and he's like, I'm going to Hearts. I was like, what? He's like, I'm going to Hearts. And I was like, is this a joke? I was like, I think I said to him, is this a joke? And he's like, no, look, it's come up, I don't know what had gone on with other people, but it'd come up, and he wanted to do it, and he thought it was right, and it was obviously a bit mad, and I was just like, right, okay, and that was it, really. It was just sort of, you just deal with it, didn't you? In football, things change so much that you just have to get on with it. But not being in and not going through COVID was hard enough, and then all these sort of things were cropping up. It was really an uncertain time for the club and the players.
That was crazy. I mean, Paul and his mate walked through Tynecastle to Tannadice to raise money to pay for the court case and everything else that was going on. It was just ridiculous. I mean, we've said this a million times, but we were actually recording a podcast, and we were doing it as normal, and we got to tell, we're like, Robbie's left, and we're like, nah, no way. Half an hour of digging. Fuck, we wouldn't need to re-record this whole thing. And then it just went from being really nice, didn't it, to the arsehole, he's away. That was just going off for that. But generally, for that,
Robbie is so headstrong, he's so stubborn.
Yeah.
Once he's made his mind.
Yeah,
he was always going to be that way.
Yeah.
But there was, I can talk about it now, but Robbie really did try and take me with him to Hearts at that time.
I was going to ask, because that was a rumour. I can remember that rumour.
Yeah,
that Hearts were after you.
He was asking me what do you want to do, and I still had a year left and was really settled at Dundee United. And I actually remember Tony Ashcroft driving up to my house through COVID, probably shouldn't have been there, knocking on the door and saying, like, are you going to stay? Like, we want you to stay, we want you to be here, blah. And I was like, yeah, like, this is my club. I love Dundee United. I love everything about it. It's, as much as I liked Robbie and we had a great relationship, I always felt like I was going to stay at United.
Yeah. And Mickey Mellon obviously came in, and it was a strange time given pre-season training was at North End and groups of 80 years, and Ross Stark was kicking about with a Ghostbusters suit on, spraying people down. And
yeah, the feeling, it doesn't seem real now when you go back into it, like what actually happened. But yeah, we started pre-season there and didn't have a manager. Gordy and Jig were taking some sessions, and fitness coach was taking some sessions, and again, like, no one knew really what was going on. We just knew we had to get fit, even though we didn't stop running the whole flipping time. We fit. Like, honestly, we must have been the fittest team. We could have played anybody and given them a game just on pure fitness, because the group was so fit, so fit. And yeah, no one really knew what was going on. We didn't have a gaffer, so we were just coming in, but he was coming in, like you said, in eights, group of 8. You train. You'd be like that in your car, drive home, do the game. It was so strange, but again, it's crazy what we adapt to as human beings, and we just got on with it.
Yeah.
And Mickey came in.
What was the main differences between Mickey and Robbie's training then at that time, or is it hard to put your finger on it because it was so splintered?
Yeah, Mickey came in, and Mickey, again, I wouldn't say he's old school, but he was very like, this is how it's going to be, sort of thing, and I want to do this. And Mickey never managed in Scotland before. He'd always been down south, and he'd been successful. He'd have successful teams. And it took a long time for the club to bring someone in. There was loads of names being thrown around at the time, and then obviously Mickey came up the road, and he came in and obviously inherited. it was difficult for him as well. He's inherited a team that's just got promoted. Everyone's in a good place. The boys fit like this. Not really much wrong. You need to add to it. Of course, you're going up. You're going into a stronger league, but there wasn't much wrong. And again, it was like you said. It was hard for him to really stamp his authority. He brought in Stevie Frau, a really good relationship with Stevie Frau, and he was a good coach, really good coach, and he did a lot of the stuff. And Mickey was a manager. He was he was just a manager. He didn't do loads on the training field. It was just like the information. He tried and give you the information. Me and Mickey really clashed on certain things, and I didn't agree with certain things in the way we like to play. He did his thing
Well, his style of play was incredibly difficult to watch.
Yeah, and I think he's sort of going into it thinking, right, we need to stay up. We're going up, and I need to stay up, and then whatever comes from that. And I think that was his approach. And he'd had this thing with the back four, and obviously he was playing centre mid, so he'd have this thing with the back four, and he'd be like, if you can't affect the game, don't leave the back four, right? So, like any defender in my head, I probably understand it more now that I'm not playing, but at the time I was like, if a player would drop in behind me, I'd be like, why the fuck are you not coming out and tackling him? But Mickey'd be like, if you don't think you can get there, don't go.
Mm-hmm.
So Bortles would be like, well, I can get there. I'd be like, but you can. And then there's like that in between all the time, and you'd put it up on the screen after the game, and it'd be like, do you think you could go there? And obviously, boys would be like, no, I can't get there. And he'd be like, fair enough, they should. And I'd be like, that's not like, you've got to give him a little bit more to say, go in there and be. Yeah. And I probably, like I said, I get it more now that I'm not playing. That what he was trying to do was the right way, but it's just the information. It was just the way it was coming across. It was it looked upon as negative, but we stayed up and we was comfortable, and it was a difficult period without the fans, and I think that had a massive impact on our style of play as well.
Yeah,
not having the fans and not having the crowd, give you that. I hated it. I hated playing through COVID. I really, really did not like. I needed the crowd. I needed that. If it was good or bad, you have to have that feeling. I had to have that feeling. Especially at Tannadice.
When a Calum Butcher tackle goes in, the crowd can react. When anything was happening, there was none reacting. It was tough.
That's what I mean. It was really, really difficult for everybody, and to have that, to not have the crowd there, it just took touch and edge off the game for me. And the way I played, it took an edge off of my game as well. I had to. I always played on the edge, and I really I struggled with that for that year, and it was difficult because we wasn't finding our rhythm, and we'd go on a 2 or 4 bad runs, and then we'd win a game, and we just couldn't get ourselves going. And yeah, it was a tough season. It was tough.
Yeah, it wasn't. From a fan's point of view, it certainly wasn't great to watch. But like, hindsight's 2020. I suppose if Mickey Mellon's been brought in and been told priority is to stay up, and he's more than done his job. But from a spectator's point of view, especially because we were watching it on our couches, as soon as the game was finished, you push the button on your controller and the TV's off, and you're looking about like, well, we'll speak about that. It was just a horrible year for watching football and for playing football, no doubt.
It was, yeah, and I think, Mickey coming up here, I think he really wanted to give, and he did. He went in, moved up here, family moved up here, all those kind of things, or commitments he put in, and I think he really wanted to give it a good go. I just don't. I think with not having the fans, and also, like you said, you're watching it on TV and you're seeing the game differently.
Yeah.
When you're in a stadium, the game is totally different.
Yeah.
To what is on TV, and every game is televised, so you can pick holes in all of it. Whereas if you're not feeling it with the atmosphere, like you guys go to every game and you're seeing it and you go, he's actually had a good game. Mm-hmm. But someone might on the TV's going, he's been awful today.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's one of them. And I think that didn't help Mickey either. And, I told him through the season, I felt sorry for him. I felt sorry for him. What he'd inherited, the club, on a trajectory. And it felt like we'd taken a step back. We hadn't, because we'd gone up and we was comfortable.
Yeah.
But it did feel like that way. It stagnated a little bit through the season.
Yeah.
And we got to Hamden, didn't we? We played, we got to Hamden against Hibs, and
Yeah, but I would say the best performance of the season was against Aberdeen at Pittodrie in the quarter final, and then we got
That
to Hampden.
The bus that left Tannadice
With the
under COVID protocols.
COVID restrictions, there wasn't any fans in the street. There was no smoke bombs or anything like that. I was there that day, so I'm going to stick myself into the police.
Yeah.
But that was one of the only times that I ever saw Mickey Mellon.
Yeah,
you never seen him because you were never at the game.
That's what I mean, and he didn't have that, and Mickey couldn't get his attachment to the fans, and the fans couldn't get their attachment to Mickey, and I think it could have been a lot different if obviously if life was different, but it wasn't.
Just remember Reynolds to mind Robbie, team before self. That was another in. Robbie Neal said team before self, and then he fucked off. Were you surprised Mickey left at the end of the season, or was? I think that the writing was always on the wall, wasn't it? Really?
I wasn't surprised. I wasn't surprised at all. You kind of through the season you'd seen things, and the game. I think Mickey got COVID or something, and he knocked him out the game, and Tam had taken the team. Livingston. That sort of time. I think I wasn't there either. I had COVID, and I kind of knew what was going on. As you do, as you're in the leadership group as such, and you're a bit more of a player for the club, and a bit more of a say. You sort of see things going on, and I kind of knew he probably was going to move on at that time.
I mean, as fans, when Tom's name comes out to get the job, we're obviously thinking, wow, that's different. But you guys in the club, some of you would obviously knew him, but what was kind of your first impressions of him?
So obviously, going from Mickey to Tam was like totally different. And I think if I'm talking openly about it, Tam had seen that and kind of knew that if he had a different approach, that it was going to work for him. So he'd seen the angle there of some boys aren't happy with certain things. If I can change that, I'll see an improvement straight away. So and again, when I was at the club, I had a really good relationship with Tony Ashcott, and Tony was like, to me, when we'd speak, I think Tam's going to be good for us, and without obviously saying it, we kind of knew it was going that way. We're going to go down a different route, and the club wanted to produce players, and they hadn't produced a lot of players up until that point to come through. And Tam had been in the setup, and Adam had been in the setup, Tony's son, and they knew the players that they wanted to bring through, so it worked for them. And the club needed to start producing more players, and I think that kind of fell into coming out of COVID and all those sorts of things, that they were going to go down that route. So like going back to Mickey though, when Mickey left, he'd come in the last game of the season, so we finished the season, and again, we'd done well, but the last 4 or 5 games of the season, he didn't play me. I played every game up until that point. And then going into the bottom 6, he started changing the team around and stuff like that. And again, through that season, I'd had a few arguments. Like I said, me and Mark clashed in the dressing room. We had to get broken up. I had another clash with one of the young boys, Flo. And Mickey had to deal with that. And a few things happened. So I was in and out of his office for a few issues. And he'd come in and the season is finished, and he said, "Right, boys, you've got a report on Monday." And he'd be like, "We've had it's been COVID, but we want some time off. I want to be with our families." But he's like, "No, report Monday. You're coming in. We'll have a discussion about the season. Everyone says goodbye to each other. That's what's happening." So everyone comes in on Monday. Mickey's come in, got us all into the canteen, and just said, "Look, not like aggressively, but sort of said, anyone wants to knock on my door for a chat, knock on my door. Be totally honest with you, I knock on my door." So a few boys went down and said what's going on and what's going on with my contract settles. And I thought, do you know what, I'm going to have to have a quick chat with him, just see what's going on. I've not played the last 3 or 4 games. So I went in there, knocked on his door, sat down. I was like, "Look, I've played every game for you. I think I've done all right. What do you think?" And he was like, "Yeah, I see you as a leader in the group, and I see you, as a big player for us, but, I want to try this, I want to do this." And I was like, "Nah, I'm not having that. You're not going to do that to me." So I was like, okay, shook his hand, said, "All the best. I appreciate, the season, blah, blah, and he left. And then, I know jumping on a little bit, but about six weeks into the start of the new season, I'm in the bath and I get a text, right? Mickey Melon. And it says, why didn't you call me? So I'm thinking, is this a joke? Like, I'm double checking my phone, checking my numbers, put in the group chat, lads, has someone changed Mickey's number and put your number? And like, because I was saying, like, we'd have a bit of a falling out. And anyway, so I was like, there can't be Mickey messaging me saying, why haven't you called me? Because I didn't call him when he left. I spoke to Stevie Stroud. Actually, Stevie had rung me and said, like, thanks very much, all the best. Like, keep in touch. But I hadn't spoken to Mickey after that day when I shook his hand.
Mhm.
So I'm ringing Reynolds. Reynolds is like, no, it's not me. It's like, you're going to message him back? And I'm like, I think I have to message him back. So I messaged him back saying, are you having a laugh? Like, because who is this? He's come back with this big message. Like, no, you should have rung me when I left the club. Like, you're taking the piss, blah, blah, blah. Like, really going into, and I'm like, what? And my reply was like, Mickey, I'm not being funny, mate. Like, it was like 11 o'clock at night as well. I'm like, I'm not even funny. It's 11 o'clock at night. I'm going to bed. Like, I don't understand why you feel this way. I'd spoken to you I'd spoken to you after the last game of the season. I didn't think there was anything to say. All the best. And left it at that. But I was so confused as to what had happened. I didn't know what was going on. I was literally just sitting in the bath and this Mickey Melon popped up on my phone. Like, what the fuck is going on here? But yeah, I feel like Mickey really wanted to come up to Scotland and make a massive impression. And I just think at that time it was difficult. I think at the time the world was difficult and he struggled with really putting his marker on the club.
So what happened with you and Connolly then?
I think we played a home game. I think it was Livy at home. Livy at home. Last couple of minutes of the game, ball went over the top. I think it got in between me and Con. Something had happened. It bounced. Con's run back, doesn't clear it. Something happened. They score. Then we lose 2-1. Coming after the game, everyone's like pissed off, and things are said. And Cons came in and sort of like threw his boots, smacked the door, fucking screaming and shouting. I was like, and I was after a game, I was kind of like, if you make a mistake, just come in and go. I put my hands up, and I'm not saying boys weren't honest about the mistake, they were, but it kind of felt like a lot was going on, and it didn't. I just went, fuck off, like, that's your mistake. Just put your hands up and say, do you know what I mean? And he was just like, fuck, and we just got into a bit of a scrap in the track, which happens, and it's fine. And afterwards we shook hands. Mickey got us in the office, and we shook hands, and we got on with the season. It was never the same after that. I'll put my, it was never. We always had that little bit between us, but things happen, and I don't see anything wrong with that. It's you passionate. Connor's passionate. I sometimes he throws his hands around like he said, and I wouldn't agree with it, but that's what he done. And we as a player, no one's perfect, and you've got to deal with all types of characters, and that was it. But yeah, we had a bit of a dispute, and the same again. But like things were happening. I think because of COVID, a lot of ways there were different stresses in the world, wasn't there?
Oh, aye.
And everyone was on edge a little bit more.
Yeah,
and like things happened in training, like Flo. Flo came up, really good footballer actually, and didn't really see the best of him. And we had a bit of a to do in training. But Mickey, and I had to do with Mickey about it. But Mickey was always like, he's coming after your position. Like do you know what I mean? He was like that instead of like a respect.
It's poking the bear a wee bit there.
Yeah. And I didn't, and I was kind of like, I get that, and I respect, and I speak to Flo, like we drop messages sometimes, but it weren't like that. It was just from Mickey's point of view. He was trying to roll a few things to get a few nibbles, and I was just like, I wouldn't really have it. So yeah, there's things that happened, and you get on with it because it's passionate. It's football, isn't it?
Yeah.
People want to win, and unfortunately, you have to do whatever it takes to win. So
yeah, I'm of the impression that probably happens like more than fans would know.
Yeah.
Like little skirmishes in the changing room.
Yeah. I think they do. I think football's changed a lot. Like I don't think it happens as much. I think if you go back 15, 20 years, that was happening every game.
Yeah, fist fights.
Yeah, of course. Everyone will come in after the game, and if you didn't play well enough, you're getting it. But that has changed. And I think moving on to when Tam came in, that was sort of the way, he was the new era of how management would be, and a bit more structured, the way he would speak. Obviously, he'd come out with some crazy words. I'll be honest with you. I was like,
glad you say that.
Where did that come from? But I'm going home looking in the dictionary, going, "What the hell?" And I'm dyslexic, so I didn't help as well. But he come in and took a different approach to Mickey. Basically, straight away, it was like, I see this, and we actually played some really good football under Tam. Some really, really good football, and like coming out of COVID, it was just, we needed something. Mickey wouldn't. If Mickey had stayed, I think it would have ended badly. I just think we needed something fresh coming out of COVID, a new approach. Like I said, with the younger players coming through for the club, it would help the club. And I think, at the time, Tam was probably the best appointment without going elsewhere and bringing someone in. I wasn't like, I started off quite well under Tam, but we had a lot of disputes as well with him about things. I didn't agree with the way I was treated on certain things.
How was his pre-season?
A lot of football based,
structured, I'm assuming.
Yeah, structured. Well, at the time, the club Tony had brought in a fitness coach to sort of oversee.
Yeah, Reynolds mentioned that. I can't mind the boy's name though.
Kyler.
Yeah, Kyler had come in and done like the coach, the fitness side of things, and then there was another guy overseeing him. So it's all database. We've basically gone down all database, and you're going to hit this certain amount. And it was a bit mad. You'd be training and you just go, right, you're coming off, and you just walk off the pitch like halfway through the session because you tick your targets for that day.
Yeah. How did you find it? How did you cope with that? Like,
I felt really fit. I felt really good for it. I felt like it was tailored probably around, I was a little bit older, just 30, 31. I felt it really helped me, and I felt really, really fit at that time. So I didn't mind it, and I was always open to whatever's going to give us an advantage. If it's going to give us an advantage, I'll do it. If I'm going to have, if that means I'm going to miss 20 minutes of this session, but on a Saturday morning I'm going to feel I'm real. I don't care.
Yeah.
And then like training for me was just a byproduct of getting to a game. I just knew that had to be done. Tick that box to get to the Saturday. So I didn't care what was going on in terms of that, and I think it worked for long periods.
Yeah, the big outgoing, of course, was Lon Shanklin left, which was obviously going to affect everyone in the dressing room because he'd kind of made his mark as a, not just a goal scorer, but he's an experienced pro, I suppose, around some of the players.
Yeah, obviously, Shanks had come in, had that great season, and I think he really struggled under Mickey as well. Probably, speaking for me, I think he didn't see eye to eye with the way things were, and I think he felt quite isolated in his position at the top of the pitch, and we weren't feeding him like we was the year before with the quality. Wasn't coming in the way he needed it, and stand out for that season, scored that goal from the halfway line, which was ridiculous.
Oh, did I mention that around Paul? I may have spoiled that moment for him.
COVID Colin here, because he was still working at the games and like just a punter, like you're just watching it on the TV. But not that you would appreciate this, but the delay on the TV, you were about a minute or two behind. Like, that was unavoidable. And Ronnie put a text in the group chat like, greatest goal I've ever seen or something. So Shanklin picks the ball up at the halfway line, you're thinking,
I know what's coming, dude.
This arsehole's just ruined this. The greatest moment of the season. So yeah, it's a bit of a touchy subject.
That was special. But I think obviously Shank struggled with the way he was playing. And he took a hit for it, and I think he realised that he needed to go on to he's very happy. I think
big move, big money move. Yeah.
It worked for the club, it worked for him.
Yeah.
It'd come to that point where you have to move on.
Yeah. Dundee Derby in September. Ian Hart's got the winner, 9 minutes for time, but you were subbed at half time. Didn't appear again in November, injured? Or
this is going back to kind of how it sort of was with Tam. Again, started off really well, and right when Tam had taken over, he'd sort of taken the time to kind of a presentation and all the players. He sort of you'd have a swap with him. This is before he'd come in as manager, and he'd literally go through your game. And he was like right on the detail and looking at previous games and how can we improve and all these sorts of things. So we sat down, he went over my game, and he like he did with everybody. And I seen you doing this, and I want to see more of this, and I think you can do this, and it was good. It's like you kind of need that, even though you're playing every week, you still need to be pushed. You need to improve. So I kind of like that. And then the start of the season happened, and I was playing, and we were doing all right. And then I remember playing against St Mirren, and I picked up a little bit of a hamstring injury. And Tam had pulled me in the office and said, "Look, I need you for the derby. Like, I need you to play in that game." And I wasn't going to miss the derby game. So I was like, "Okay, I'll be ready for it." He's like, "Look, have the week off for after play in the game, but I need you to be fit for that game. You're going to be fit for that game, aren't you?" And I was like, I'll be fit for that game." And I wasn't fit. I was probably like 40%. Like my hamstring groin was in bits, and I remember an injection, had tablets to get through. I was really spaced out. Like in the I just remember being in the warm ups, being like a bit all over the gaff, and I only managed till half time. We win the game. Half scored a great goal, actually, didn't it? A volley, a half volley. Yeah, I remember being in the tunnel and remember the goal. Or was it the one when he bent it around?
Yeah, it was up at the shed end. Yeah,
it was the other. It was the other.
Yeah.
It was the other. Yeah. But yeah, I remember coming off and then Dylan comes on and just like a little wizard in the middle of the pitch starts pinging it around, and but again probably helped that the game had opened up. I'd done all the shit. I'd done all the shit in the first half, and Dylan comes on and starts popping it around. So yeah, it was we'd wanted to win the game, and to start with a derby win was good. But from that moment on, my relationship kind of went downhill with Tam.
Yeah, he played Kerr Smith at right back that day.
Yeah. Was that his first start?
I think it might have been.
It might have been his first start, yeah.
And at right back as well, but I mean, he took a stretch over a couple of years. He was about 6'4" when he left.
Yeah, so. he come in and done really well. And again, like Tam wasn't scared to do those sort of things.
Yeah.
And I think you'd only have had that because of him knowing them as a player coming through the youth team and being around them day to day.
Yeah.
What they're capable of. You know? So again, while the appointment works for the club.
In November, there was a tasty New Firm derby. You managed to get yourself sent off for an off the ball or on the ball incident, depending on what way you look at it. And that was also the game where Ojo was sent off for Aberdeen for clashing with a fan. What's your memories of that game?
So, yeah, I don't know what I was thinking, if I'm honest with you.
Just a moment of madness.
A lot had happened, like I said, touching on the fallout from coming out injured. I come out injured, obviously had that discussion with Tam to say that I need you to play. I got myself back fit, and he kept me out of the squad. And I rang him, and I was like, I actually rang him. I probably shouldn't have. I was really angry. I rang him the day before a game and said the squad had come in. I'd been training for 2 or 3 weeks. The squad had come in, and my name wasn't on the list. And I'd been fit. And I'd done everything I needed to do to get back fit. I was fit, signed off, ready to play. My name wasn't in the squad. So I was like, what? So I rang him. Then I thought, no, this is not the right time. Leave it. Went in on the Monday and sort of sat with him. I said, right, so you asked me to play in a game and you knew I wasn't 100%. I've played in the game. I've made it worse. Obviously come off in the derby. And then you leave me out squads. So like you can't tell me to do something. I've done it for you, put my body on the line, and then not get me back involved at the earliest possible moment. So I was angry about that. And he kind of took that as a disrespect for me sort of approaching it that way, and he kept me out of the squad. And he was kind of in that moment where Mark Reynolds was sort of moving on, and they were looking for us captain. At the time, I was assistant captain kind of thing, and he took Brian Edwards instead. And those sort of things were happening, and I was not disappointed. And Ryan actually rung me. Tam hadn't said it to me as well, so Ryan had rung me and said, "Look, I thought I'd ring you just to say." Tam's pulled me aside and said, "I'm going to have the armband. Obviously, I know you've been, assistant or whatever to Reynolds, but this is what's happening." And I hadn't had that discussion with Tam, so all those sort of things were happening, and I was pissed off. I was like, I'm not expected to be captain, and I'm not saying that's like how it should have been, but I just felt at the time things could have been dealt with differently, and especially from the injury point of view of being injured, coming back in, and then not getting dealt with. I was older. I mean, I played a lot of games for the club. I felt I deserved a little bit more respect to say, right, we'll get you back involved, and we'll go from there. And they had started to do well, and a lot of young players were coming in and doing well. And yeah, I just didn't see eye to eye for a little period. And then that sort of culminated in coming back in against Aberdeen, and then just one of those mad moments you have on the pitch, like. Just saw a bit of red and just thought, and I didn't actually like think anything of it at the time. It was just like a bit of tongue, not tongue in cheek, but it was a bit like I just felt like that, like not like to do any like maliciously. It was just like that, and he's again rolled around like he'd been shot, and I'm gone. So didn't nail me after coming back in, and I definitely wasn't in the good books for a few weeks after that as well.
Well, I mean, at least next game back, you didn't do anything silly. You just get a retrospective red card for a tackle on David Turnbull. On the back of it, you said seeing red's a bad habit, I think is one of the lines. But you always kind of did play on the edge. But again, it's one of these tackles that I think you'd probably
got a lot of stick for that.
Yeah,
I got a lot of stick for that, and it was one of them. I was actually on the bench. I think I'd just come on, and the game had opened up. And it was one of them tackles where the ball's there to be won. The only way I was going to get there was if I stretched. And the only way I was going to get there is if I had a little bit of momentum. So, again, you can slow things down like you can on Sky, and you can look at it at 10 different angles. But it's one of them things. If the ball's there to be won, I'm not going to pull out of it. I've never done that. So, I got a lot of stick for it. I did get a lot of stick for it. And people, when asked me for it, and it didn't obviously help the couple of weeks before getting that sending off, and it culminated in a little bit of an issue. And I know I got stick on Sky and all that sort of stuff, and that doesn't help. As soon as you come in and then it's been shown back, and then Sky are all over it, and they're like, "That's awful," and he should have been like, and you're like, "Okay, yeah, but it's not happened." Do you know what I mean? And I also, when I tackled people, I wasn't stupid. Like I know I had to win the ball. Like I'm not an idiot. Like I know how to. And you can definitely tell when a player wants to hurt somebody and when they don't. And that's kind of that. Definitely that one was more of stop the attack.
You probably got a lot of stick because of the opposition. Like if that had happened in a game against St Mirren or something, it probably wouldn't have got highlighted as much. Another game against Celtic was in January 2022 when you brilliantly marshalled the back line for 90 minutes before Abada scored an injury time. And I think it was yourself, Lewis Nielsen, and did Ross Graham came on in that game as well. What's your memories of playing against them? Because as fans, we just never seem to get the rub of the green against them. And even that day, I thought we were brilliant to a point defensively, and we still managed to not get anything.
Yeah, that was a tough one to take. I think obviously those that happened before Christmas, and after we come back after the break, it was kind of a bit of a reset for me. I'd spoken to Tam, we kind of cleared the air. He'd come to me and said, "Look, without saying sugar, I think he kind of realised he needed to have me involved in some capacity. Not having me involved wasn't working, so I needed to get him in." And we played Killy in the cup. We had a good result there, and it sort of kicked on, and I started to play. But I started to play in the back three. So this is kind of like when I moved back, he started to put me into a back three. So played in the middle of that game, and again, I think the timing. Every time we played Celtic, I felt like it was like we always go into a game where they had to win, or that it was a must win for them. And I think it was the time when Rangers and Celtic were close, and if they were going into the derby the next game, and they needed to get something from the game against us. And we done, like you said, we done really well for that 90 minutes, and then a ball back post and a late header, and I tell you what, that place erupted. It was like it erupted. The lights came on, and it was just like I remember that still now.
Yeah,
How crazy they went for that goal.
Yeah.
It was an absolute signal that day as well.
Mhm.
But, you made your last appearance for United, 2-1 victory at St Mirren, March, and then in the end of April, Tom Court said you wouldn't play again that season. What happened?
Yeah, again, it was like a personal issue that I just didn't deal with well enough. I take responsibility for not dealing with it well enough, not speaking to people and being open about what was going on, and it sort of culminated. I don't think it helped what happened that season. I did think at one point I was getting to a point where we could move forward from it, but I just never found myself in a position with the club where it was viable to move forward, and I knew my time was up, and it hurt. It really hurt to leave United in that way after having such a successful period at a club that I love. It was tough. It was tough to leave. It was tough to move on, but these things happen, and sometimes you have to put your hands up and say, if you're not going to deal with things properly, you're gonna take the consequences for that.
When that happens, what happens to you as Callum Butcher, the footballer? Like, do you still train? Do you still what? Because you're still under contract. You're still a contract football player.
I still had a year left. I was one game away from an extension of another year. So I think that played a part in it. And the club sort of turned to me and said, you're not going to be involved. And I said, okay, yeah, I've got to deal with this situation. I understand that. They gave me a little bit of time off. My family was living in Spain. I went up to Spain and spent some time with them. And obviously was dealing with the stuff off the pitch that kind of took priority from what was happening on the pitch. And at the time, I just had to deal with what was in front of me. I wasn't in the training ground or anything like that, and I never went back to the club. From that moment, I sort of knew I had to move and was looking at what the situation was going to be moving forward for me and my family. But like I said at the time, it was really hard, and I wish we found a way to move through it. But it just never getting to a point where it's going to be possible. And the club dealt with me how they wanted to deal with me, and that was it. We sort of shook hands in the best way possible, and I moved away. And I'd spoken to Tony, and again, I've not really spoken about Tony on here, like how good Tony was for me with my United career. Tony Ashford was brilliant. I know he gets some stick for decisions and stuff that was made at the club, but I really think without Tony and obviously the new chairman coming in, the club wouldn't have been in the position it is today, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah. Obviously, that happens near the end of the season. When do you then start thinking, right, what's my next? Because the club have obviously said they're not going to stand in your way or whatever, because you end up back at Burton.
Yeah. So again, just I was looking for another opportunity, and Burton sort of came up, and Jimmy had rung me and said, what do you think about coming back? And again, it was kind of the same thing going back to United. From when I did, I thought going somewhere that I felt comfortable. I knew the place wasn't new to me. I felt like it would work, and I missed a lot of pre-season because I was still dealing things with United, and I was trying to get out of my contract. It wasn't easy. It wasn't plain sailing. Once that was dealt with, I sort of moved down to Burton. But same as Mansfield, I knew straight away that it wasn't going to be what I wanted to do, and I didn't feel great there at all.
What was it with everything that sort of goes on and whatever? What is it like as a Motherwell player going back to play against United at that time?
Yeah. So my time at Burton was 6 months. I'd moved down there literally, and before I'd gone to Burton, I'd met with the Motherwell manager. He'd asked to see me, Graham Alexander, and we went for lunch, and he sort of said, "Look, I'd love to sign you," and all these sorts of things. I just didn't. It didn't feel right at the time. I didn't feel like leaving Dundee United and going and play for another team in Scotland, other than Dundee United, would have felt right for me. And I was really against it, even though what they was offering me was good, and it would have worked probably I wouldn't have to have moved and all those sorts of things, but it just didn't feel right. So I didn't end up going there, but they'd always sort of stayed in contact and sort of knew the situation at Burton and knew I wasn't happy. And I got a call in the January and said, literally last day of the window again. I seem to always move the last day of the window. Do you fancy coming up? Like, we're in a difficult situation. Obviously looked at the league and it's like Motherwell and United, and I'm like, stepping out. But if I'm honest with myself, it was. I felt like I had unfinished business in Scotland, and I felt like I needed to go back, and I needed to prove to myself and some other people that I had stuff to do. So came back up, and it was strange. It was really strange playing for another team. It was really strange living in a different part of Scotland. But I did enjoy the first 6 months at Motherwell. I really enjoyed it. The manager gets sacked after 2 games. Kettlewell comes in, and I had a really good relationship with Kettlewell as well, quite similar to Robbie in the way he sort of deals with people. So we sort of got off to a really good start in our relationship, and we had a really good end to the season. Obviously, culminated in Dundee United getting relegated. But again, in my mind, when I signed for Motherwell, it was, you got a job to do, and once you're at that club, that's your job. They're paying you, and this is how it's going to be. But it was difficult to play against Dundee United. I actually didn't play very well against Dundee United at Motherwell. I was playing really well, and then that game, I don't know what happened, but it was a bit. I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy playing against Dundee United, and again, like I said, I never wanted to play for another club. I had too much feelings towards the club and the fans.
What are you up to these days? What fills Callum Butcher's time?
So lots happened, to be fair. Obviously, finishing off at Motherwell, I had a really bad injury. Lost 2 or 3 games of the season, 2023, 24. Ruptured my toe against Livingston on the AstroTurf, which was a bad one. And I loved AstroTurf not to be a thing, but it is a thing. People seem to like it, and it shouldn't be played. We shouldn't be allowed to play on it, but it is what it is, and it didn't help. And then from that moment on, I never really got myself going after coming back from injury. I probably rushed back, which I've done throughout my career. I rushed back from injuries, which I shouldn't have. Put myself through, situations I probably didn't need to, but it was just in my DNA to just get on with it and try and get back as quickly as possible and try and play football. And I pushed myself, and I wasn't ready, and it sort of caught up with me towards the end of the season. Wasn't playing very well, and I was frustrated, and I couldn't get my body how I wanted it to be. And the club had come to me, and Kelwell said, "Look, we'll offer you another year, but this is what it's going to be. Get yourself going again, and we'll sit down at Christmas, and maybe look at extending all this." And I was just like, "This is not what I want to do." Do you know what I mean? Really frustrating end to my Motherwell career. But I come out of Motherwell after going there and setting out to do what I wanted to do, which was keep them up. And the year after, they stayed up as well. So I felt like I'd done everything there. And when I was looking at my other opportunities after that, nothing just sat well with me for what I wanted to do. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I honestly couldn't. I just felt really frustrated with injury. I felt frustrated with football. The last 3 or 4 years of my career, I'd been frustrating. Obviously, I still had leaving Dundee United in my head and all those sorts of things. And if it wasn't going to work for me, I wasn't going to do it. And I knew ultimately, as you get older, you have to move on to different things. You might have to drop down a league or two. And I just wasn't comfortable doing that with my life. I kind of didn't want to kick the can down the road, and I wanted to set up. I've always been really into businesses and entrepreneurial. I had a lot of people growing up around my life in doing that sort of stuff, and I kind of always looked at that as like that would be my next step. I didn't know how I wanted to stay in football, if I wanted to stay in football, coaching. So I just tried to look at a different route. And coming out of it the year before, knowing that I wasn't couldn't find what suited me, I had to look at something else. And the offers I would get were like Canada and Croatia and all these sort of mad places. And I was just like, that's just not going to work with my life, you know, and with what I want to do. So again, you can keep the can down the road. And I don't look badly on anybody that plays till 39, 40. That's what you want to do. And you're comfortable and you're happy. But, you know, I was living in Glasgow, like my family's in England. Like nothing was sort of adding up for me.
Yeah.
So I had to look at something else, and I come back down south, and I've started to set up some businesses, done a little bit of property, and sort of just I do want to stay in football. Like I said to you, I've been doing a little bit of mentoring with an agency and working with some agents, potentially going in with them. But I always wanted to do something outside of football and make sure that football, I'm not doing it for the sake of it. I'm doing it because I want to. See a lot of boys retire and go, I'm going to be a coach because that's all they know, and they probably don't enjoy it, you know. And I didn't want to be like that. I didn't want to stay in football unless it really, really worked for me in my life. And yeah, like it's been tough. Like don't get me wrong. I've had some moments where I've come out of it and think, did I make the right decision? And you know, I miss playing matches incredibly. End up playing in this Ballers League.
How did that come about?
Didn't have that in my bingo card.
Yeah, look at that. Just literally a phone call one day. One of my friends, really good friend of mine, was coaching one of the teams, and he just said, "Look, do you fancy it?" Like, and I didn't even not even heard of it. I'd not even seen what was going on really. I'd seen like little bits on YouTube and that, but I didn't really know. Didn't know the rules. Didn't know all that. And I went up to one of the games, watched one of the games, and I was like, "This is crazy." Like, it's literally like walking into the internet. Like you're walking in, everyone's got their phones out. Like it's all content related. Like YouTubers there. You got like Mika Richards, Alan Shearer, like Maya Jama. You got like all these people just walking around, and then there's a football match going on. And it's like, but the kids love it. Like my little boy, he absolutely loves it. And yeah, that's probably he kind of said to me like, why are you not playing? You should be. He always says to me like, why are you not playing? You should be playing. And I'm like, yeah, probably should. You know, I know I can still play, and I was like, I'll just play in it, see what it's like. And a lot of boys have not played in it because you can make yourself look stupid. If you end up on YouTube, you get nutmeg sometimes. Like, it ain't gonna look good. I've just always been like a bit of a risk taker, and I just thought, fuck it, I'm gonna go and play. And I've really enjoyed it. I played 4 or 5 games, and I did really enjoy it. There's another season coming up, and it's growing. It's getting bigger, and it's exciting for the kids. You know, like you end up with one-on-ones and all these sort of mad things going on.
It's I said we've always been chatting back and forth for a little while, and then obviously you've been busy and whatever, and we were saying we'll get something sorted. And I says to Paul, I think Callum Butcher's playing in the Ballers League tonight, and he went, "Fuck's a Ballers League." I was like, "It's just on Sky Sports."
You wouldn't really put Butcher and Baller together, but
so then obviously it comes up. There's the team list, and then we're obviously knows we are the day except Bruce is watching it, and I'm like, I have no idea what the fuck's going on here. And then at the end of the game, it's like, oh, here's 10 minutes of whatever. We'll spin this thing, and it's one-on-ones, or I had absolutely no idea what was going on at the end.
It's crazy, but I tell you what, it's since I went in and like obviously the start of it, it's just got bigger and bigger each week.
It will continue to grow.
It will, and we ended up the season. My team was right, and we ended up at the final at the O2, and you got like Will Smith coming on the pitch, and like. What is going on? Terry Reese there, and you're like, it's just mad. It was mad. They stormed out the O2. Yeah. There's like 20,000 people at the O2.
Mental. What team did you play for? What team did you play for?
For United, yeah.
Yes.
Which worked well. So I actually really enjoyed it, and it was good for me to play. It's kind of worked with other things I've been setting up and doing, business side of it. So to have that fix of the football as well as this, and I have been doing some coaching. I'm not fully come out of football, been doing some coaching with a friend, and I've had offers to go in and play still, and nothing has worked how I wanted it to on the football side of things. So, you know, I'm only 34, and it's sad to say that I probably won't play again. But I look back on what I did, and that was another reason coming out of it. It was like, what else can you do? Like you've played a lot of games, you've had some promotions, you've been to cup finals, you've played for, you know, some good clubs. where are you going with this? Do you know what I mean? And I was always kind of like, there's always going to be a separate part to my life once football's gone. Like, what is it? And I've kind of had a year of just working out what I want to do. So I managed to set up a business around recovery, something I was really passionate about when I was playing. Saunas and ice baths and recovery and all that sort of stuff. Found a location local to me, which is like amazing views, and it's like a bit of a community hub around it. So that's something I'm going into next. And I've got a few other things lined up. Like I said, I like to do the agency stuff, and that's probably the route I'll stay in football. And I like talking to kids about paths and the mentoring side of it, and trying to give them a little bit of an insight of what it's like, and what you're going into, the environment you're going into.
Well, when you're giving them advice or even listening to them, when you say something back to them, it's coming from a place of experience. You've lived it. You've done it yourself.
Yeah, I hope so. And I try and say that to players when I'm speaking to them, and just like, I can give you all my advice. You've got to find your own path. It's just what I'm telling you of my experiences, and it's not an ego thing of I've done this, I've done that, and I've won this, or I've played at this level. Like, it's just like, this is how I see it. And it's more to do with keeping the players, how I like to do it, is like, you're a human being. You still have to walk in a room, you still have to talk to people, shake somebody's hand, be polite, be respectful. But all those things that are so important that boys forget about. They just think they can turn up and bend one top corner and all of a sudden you're going to fit in. That's not how it works. You need to be able to, you need to be a people person to push on in your, I believe that is the case.
Yeah, I mean, it'll no shock when we say, like, when we spoke to Mark Reynolds, like, he was so zoned in. He knew what he was doing after football. Like, he knew he was going part-time. He was going to use this degree. And again, having the eye on the bigger picture, no interest in coaching. I mean, he's still playing, obviously, Banks of D and stuff just now, but you think, fair play, you like.
Yeah.
Fair play.
To be fair, Reynolds when Reynolds come to us, I think he was 33, he's a few years older than me. He knew straight away what he was going to do, and we cast school, and he'd talk about, I'm doing this, and he's doing the degree like while playing, and I was like, for me, I wasn't that type of person that was going to be able to do that and do football. I was too into one or the other. I couldn't separate the two. So having this year out and focusing on something that I wanted to do and go down this path has been a real eye opener to me, because when you do live in a bubble with football, like, this is all you know, and when you come out of it and you look at, the different type of businesses that are going on and the different avenues you can take away from football. And I kind of always knew that if I took half of my discipline of football or pieces of my football career and put them into my business and the things that I want to do away from football, I'll be all right, because they are the traits that you need to be successful. And I kind of felt like I didn't want to get to 38, 39, 40 and still have to do the same thing. I earned good money, but I never earned the money where I was going to go, I'm going to sit on the beach all day. That was never going to be me. And I didn't earn the money to do that. So I knew that I had to be successful away from the pitch. And that's kind of where it started. When I saw my options, I was kind of like, I'm going to have to take a hit here. But I know in the long run, hopefully I've put myself in a position where I'll look back and go, that was the right decision 3 or 4 years down the line.
Yeah, no, fair play to you. Our final question, as always, is, how do you sum up your time at Dundee United?
I would say it's the best time of my life, and I honestly mean that. It was my favourite time to play football. It was my most enjoyment. My best memories were at Dundee United. My best moments of my career at Dundee United. It felt like home to me. Every time I go to the stadium, I felt like I belonged there. I felt loved. I felt respected. And it'll always be my team. It'll always be a club that I look out for. It'll always be, a place that I love. And although it ended the way it ended, I always have good memories of Dundee United, and I always look to them and think that was the club that meant the most to me out of my career.
Callum Butcher, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, buddy.
No worries, lads.
So thank you very much to Callum Butcher. It was recorded the other week, quite a few weeks back actually, and it felt like a bit of a warts and all at times during that rondo. There was a lot of things that he wanted to get off his chest. I think it was him that reached out to us, if I believe.
No. But I'd had conversations with him back and forward for a wee while, and he effectively said it was the only podcast he was going to do.
Yeah.
And he was only going to speak to us and stuff like that. So we kind of appreciated that, and it was we thought an hour and a bit chat, but it turned into about 2 hours something or whatever. I don't know. This episode will break out a bit. It'll be close to 4 hours.
Yeah, it was a good laugh. And as I say, like there was some things that he was telling with that we certainly didn't care about.
Yeah. I mean, the Nadir story is just. I mean, we've obviously spoke to Nadir, and you hear other stories, but that's just him doing absolute tea.
Yeah, just doing circles around his car.
Yeah, but
Tremendous.
again, to hear for somebody that the upbringing he had, going into Tottenham, and you kind of. He drops the names in, but I think he was right to. But then ends up, out in the Scandinavia playing and going back and forward. Then obviously his first time at United's great, and then he comes back and is thrown right into it. And obviously there's the odd moment we speak of the Aberdeen thing, the tackle in the derby, and the whole Bobby and sent off thing and whatever. So yeah, but it was we appreciate it. Let's say it was in the works for a little while, and we just had to get it nailed down, so we got it done over the summer.
And when he got put on loan for Tottenham to Barnet, I believe, what was it? His first game he was up against as a young, skinny butch.
I mean, as you could probably tell, this has been inserted in the middle, but Jim Goodwin. No. What is it he plays against?
Akinfenwa.
Akinfenwa.
The boy that could be the heavyweight champion of the world.
Yeah. Sorry, no, because we were speaking about because he played against Jim Goodwin, so I thought you said, "Oh, he's a monster."
Like a young laddie going up against him.
Is he available to be signed for Sunday?
We could do with him.
But yeah, no. Much thanks to Calum Butcher for his time. And again, it's the first one that we've managed to get the recording from Zoom and put up, and again, it looked alright when I've been watching it, so hopefully it's fine when you've got it on. On your telly in your front room, and the wife's going, "What the fuck's this shit you're watching?"
Correct.
It's the Butch, man.
Just keep watching it.
He'll 2-foot you.
Yeah.
So
he will through the screen.
Yeah. So no, much I appreciate to Callum for his time this summer. Our first ex-player guest of the season.
Certainly is. Yeah.
Good fun. On this day, then, to finish off, in association with the Arab Archive, 7 the history of Dundee United Football Club since 2006, 25th of August is our focus. We'll start, Paul, in 1982 in the League Cup group stage. It was a dream Tannadice debut for John Gardiner.
Goalie.
United cruised. Davy Dodds struck twice inside 20 minutes before the break. In the second half, Paul Sturrock made it 3. Graham Payne had their 4th after Dodds was denied. 4 wins for 4 in the section as United flew to a 4-0 win against Falkirk.
Again. Brilliant.
I must have been on when I was typing this out. 1990 at McDermott. It was in the Premier Division. Darren Jackson opened from the spot before ex-United man Harry Curran levelled with a screamer. Jackson volleyed in a second. Then after Alan Main was sent off, what went in goal?
Were there subby keepers back then?
Nope. It wasn't a subby keeper that went in. Should ken this. We're talking about boys 2-footing you through TVs.
Dave Bowman
went in the goal. He held firm, and late on, Christian Daly raced clear to score his first Premier goal and seal the points. St Johnstone 1, United 3.
Wonder if there's ever a photo of that Bowen, the United goalie tap. That'd be a good one to get.
Arab Archive, can you find that?
Yes, please.
Somebody find that. 2007, the SPL was a slow first half up in Inverness. But after the break, United cut loose. Sean Dillon's cross sneaked in for the opener. Barry Robson buried 2 penalties. Both won with Lee Wilkie causing havoc up front. 3-0, job done in the Highlands. Inverness 0, United 3. 2018 in the Championship. United made 3 league wins in a row at home to Partick, who have added a G to the end of their name. Paul Watson headed in his first goal for the club. He doubled the lead from a corner. Late on, Craig Curran tapped home his first United goal to make it safe. A slip for the keeper let Chris Erskine grab a late consolation, but United were worthy winners as they won the match 3-1. Signings. Signed on this day in 2000. He was a Cameroon international. He played in his native country. He played in Denmark, Argentina, Germany, the UAE. He had little success. United made just 4 appearances, released in December of 2000, moving to France, where he joined Nice. Who be that player, Paul?
The Missy?
No.
No, that would be the 80s. Is it a goalkeeper?
No, striker.
Mavondo?
No.
2000. Cameroon. No.
Alphonse
Shami.
There you go.
Shami.
Yeah.
Yeah. Instantly forgettable character, really. Yeah.
Probably feature on the Tannadice Test soon. Next up, a striker who made 16 appearances but didn't put the bar in the pokey. Signed on this day in 2022. Should have scored at Livy.
He plays 16 times for us.
Mm-hmm.
Sadat Anaku.
Indeed.
Yeah. 16 times. Oh well.
Birthdays. This player arrived at Tannadice on loan in 2009, but it was cut short when he was injured. He returned to his own club after making just 8 appearances. He's Australian. He turns 38 today, which I might need to double check because I'm not really believing that.
Got us good.
No,
No.
because he done really well. James Wesolowski.
Oh yeah, he was alright us, was he?
Looked like a decent player,
Yeah,
eh?
he was alright.
Would have been Levine that brought him in, Leicester.
I think so, I'm pretty sure it was,
Yeah.
Yeah, he was alright.
There you go.
Happy birthday, James.
Indeed. Right, that is it for episode 298. As always, you can find out more, dodefoxpodcast.com. You follow us on the socials for the Dode Fox Podcast. You can like, subscribe, click that notification bell on YouTube. And you can support the pod at buymeacoffee.com/Dode Fox Podcast. Do have a great week. Stay safe and don't forget to wash your hands and your arsehole.